Hogwarts, forbidden son of the Black and White Lord. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1 Iron-039, M. Your Dad. Time, April 1991, 8. Location, New York City. Character, Augustus. New York is the most prosperous city in the world, with colorful neon lights flickering, and the air of the whole city exudes a breath of desire. There is no distinction between day and night in this city. The fall of night only makes those invisible things appear better. In the back alley of John's Bar in Queens, two men in strange clothes were talking. "Have you got something?" a tall man asked, if the man had a mohawk or yellow hair. "Here it is. The note just arrived from Colombia is absolutely correct. Is the money in place?" The short man said, "This ugly person also has these two front teeth. Here is the money, the old banknotes, without consecutive numbers, a total of 100,000 knives." Huang Mao said, handing a box to the dwarf, and then stood aside and lit a cigarette. "Recently, the investigation is very strict. The trash of the US federal investigation comes to check every day," Huang Mao said, and blew a smoke ring. "But recently I heard that several brothers in New York have been raped. Do you have any news?" "No, I heard that they were all killed directly. Although there were no dead people, no one saw the assailant. The action on the other side was too fast." The dwarf buried his head in counting the money and spoke slowly. "It's really strange. Those who do our job are usually good players, and they can be killed without seeing the opponent. It seems that the attacker is not easy," Huang Mao said. After Huang Mao finished smoking, he threw the cigarette butt on the ground and stomped it out. Then say, "Quickly end it. I always feel like I'm being watched." Just as he finished speaking, he heard a sound of piercing through the air, and before he had any reaction, he was already lying motionless on the ground, and the dwarf next to him also suffered the same fate, and both of them fell to the ground almost at the same time. 0.02 seconds. "Okay." A young voice came from the shadows, and then a handsome young man walked out, picked up the money box, turned and left. "He shouldn't have done that," said an old voice. "It's a crime," the voice continued. "But he didn't kill people. No matter when he didn't kill him, it shows that he is still kind. Newt, we should educate him, not punish him now," a kind voice said. Two old men came out from the shadows. One had a beard so long that it could be braided. This old man was very childlike and even tied a bow on it. The other seemed very unconfident and always looked down head on. "We should catch up quickly, Newt. It's not a good idea to let a little wizard wander in the muggle world, and he seems to have mastered some unique wandless and silent casting, which is very dangerous," the white-bearded old man said. "You should have come earlier, Dumbledore. He can be counted as your descendant." Newt said, a little dissatisfied. "I thought that magic didn't work at all. An artificial body cannot give birth to a soul," Dumbledore said helplessly. "But not only did he succeed, but he also has a terrifyingly high magical talent. An underage wizard can perfectly control his own magic power, and he can also cast spells without a wand. My salamander, that's really unheard of," Newt said with lingering fear. "After all, he has the blood of the Dumbledore family," the white-bearded old man said with a smile, with a bit of pride in his tone. Hearing Albus Dumbledore's boast, Newt curled his lips and said, "He doesn't know he's from the Dumbledore family. He thinks he's an orphan." Dumbledore was embarrassed when he heard the words, but quickly regained his composure and said slowly, "He will know today. Let's go quickly, and we will follow." With a bang, Dumbledore disappeared in place. Immediately afterwards, Newt's figure also disappeared, leaving only the two unlucky ones lying on the ground. A young figure was flying under the moonlight. This was obviously not an ordinary person. He was as agile as a cat, performing extraordinary parkour on the roof. Suddenly he stopped abruptly, then turned his face and said coldly, "Come out, I found you." The two old people came out of the transparency, and the boy said disdainfully, "It's hard enough to rob at such an old age." Dumbledore was full of black lines when he heard the words, and asked weakly, "Why do you think so?" "Son, we just want to take you home. You lied to the child. This is New York. This is the United States. You are following a child in Queens to take him home. Don't tease me. Who are you? There are two people in front of me. Facing the black muzzle of the gun, Dumbledore's face was full of black lines, thinking that this little kid was too stubborn, so he took a deep breath and said slowly, I'm your father. What? What? Don't talk nonsense. I'm an orphan. My father is long gone. And how old are you? How can you say such bullshit words? It's shameless. The boy said angrily. Newt on the side blushed when he heard the boy's words and tried hard not to laugh out loud. When Dumbledore heard this, his breath was confused and he looked like he had a heart attack. Thinking about the first time in more than 100 years that he was called shameless, he was speechless for a while. Seeing the strange embarrassment of the scene, Newt still decided to say something. Ahem. Dumbledore, the aura of the US Ministry of Magic is coming. You should take him out of the US first. Dumbledore took a deep breath and said, okay Newt, thank you for your help and I'll take him away now. Hey, what are you talking about? I'll tell you what magic. If you don't explain clearly today, I won't let you go, especially the old man with the white beard. You are my father, and I will return your grandfather. The boy said angrily, and continued to point the gun at the two people in front of him. Time is running out. After speaking, Dumbledore took out the old wand, and waved the boy, as if he was hooked by something, and flew towards Dumbledore. Dumbledore gently grabbed the boy's shoulder with his hand, and then turned to Newt next to him said, let's go first. Thank you for your help Newt. Remember to visit Hogwarts when you have time. Grab me tightly with your hands. Dumbledore said to the boy in front of him with a smile. Let go of me, you old rascal. What do you want to do? The boy said struggling. When Dumbledore heard the words, there seemed to be a huge tic-tac-toe disc flashing on his head. Okay, don't make trouble. After speaking, he called out to the sky, Fergus. A fireball suddenly appeared in the sky. The fireball was burning violently, and then a big fiery red bird flew out of the fireball. It flew around the heads of everyone. It was so beautiful and spectacular, and looking at it gave me a feeling of hope. Chapter 2: The Mystery of Life Experience. It's called Fergus. It's a phoenix and my partner. Dumbledore said softly. It's so beautiful. The boy said. The boy gave up struggling when he saw this phoenix because he felt a sense of closeness from blood, or the two people really knew their own backgrounds ever since I traveled to this place, let alone my parents. I don't even know my own name. I only vaguely know that my name seems to be Augustus, but I don't know my surname. The boy thought in his heart. Seeing the boy in front of him give up struggling and start to bow his head in thought, Dumbledore smiled and said loudly, hurry up, Fox, let's go. What? Wait, I still have a lot of things to take. The boy said loudly, but before the boy finished speaking, the phoenix flew over Dumbledore's head, and golden flames began to burn around the two of them. My money, Malefic. Accompanied by an American curse, the flames burned out, and the two figures disappeared into the night. Augustus felt that he was stuffed into a rubber pipe, and after a short time he was spit out again by the rubber pipe. This feeling of being squeezed was really uncomfortable. Augustus stood up and shouted loudly to the old man in front of him, who the hell are you, and where is this place? You still want to compensate me for the loss? Do you know how much money I have for this order? Dumbledore looked at him with a smile and replied, my child, your name is Augustus Dumbledore, and you are a wizard. Augustus was stunned for a moment. I'm a wizard and my surname is Dumbledore. I didn't expect that. I did not simply travel through time, but came to the magical world in the world of Harry Potter. Big grass. My surname is Dumbledore, so what do you have to do with me? You can't be my father. Augustus looked at the old man in front of him strangely and said, this question is a bit complicated to explain. Let's discuss it in my principal's office. By the way, welcome to the wizarding world and welcome to Hogwarts. Dumbledore said, waving a magnificent the majestic castle slowly appeared in front of the two of them. Come on child, you will get what you want to know. Dumbledore said lightly. Augustus looked at the castle in front of him that had appeared countless times in his dreams in that world, took a deep breath to strengthen his confidence, and followed Dumbledore into it slowly. In the principal's room, Dumbledore sat behind his desk and looked at the young man in front of him. He looked a little cramped, but he stared at the surroundings very curiously, his eyes full of curiosity and surprise. Those eyes are so unique. They are sapphire blue, like a sapphire, and like the clear sea water without a trace of dust under the sun. The left eye's golden and dazzling like the sun, making it difficult to look at each other. He really looks like the young Dumbledore, only the hair color is different, and those eyes are so charming. The paintings on the wall started arguing. At first they marveled at the similarity between the old and the young. Later it became who was more handsome when they were young. Dumbledore was very handsome when he was young, but his black curly hair was too common. This young man with light blonde straight hair is obviously more noble and handsome. A tall painting roared loudly, and after a while of calm, the paintings began to whisper, start discussing. The last painting of a lady said, "You are right, Principal Phoenix. We agree that this young man is more handsome." Dumbledore lost in the hair. Dumbledore heard the black thread again, and then said softly, "Okay, everyone, I still have to answer the boy's question. Can you go to another place for a while? Thank you very much." Hearing that, Dumbledore started to chase people away. The paintings stopped their discussion and left their frames one after another. The old man named Phoenix glared at Dumbledore, said something mean, and left angrily. "Okay, no one is bothering us now. You can ask any questions you have, and I will answer them for you," Dumbledore said to the boy in front of him. The young man collected himself and said calmly, "My name, my origin, and how you found me." When Dumbledore heard this, he thought for a while, and was silent for a while and replied, "Your name is Augustus Dumbledore. I found out your location through Newt. The two people you robbed were for the Crow. They are a group of transnational magical animal smugglers. You used magic when you dealt with them, so we can locate you. As for your origin, I don't know if I should tell you now." "Magic?" Augustus asked. "Yes, magic. You should feel that you are different, such as your method of strengthening your athletic ability. That is your natural ability of magic." Dumbledore replied with a smile. "It turned out to be magic. At the beginning, I felt this strange energy in my body. I thought I was a mutant or something. It seems that I can't be Magneto. I can only be a wizard." Augustus thought silently. "But why did I become a teenager after living for only 1 year? And why am I in the United States? What is the relationship between you and me? Don't hide it from me. I have the right to know everything about me," Augustus said seriously. Arrived, and then stared at the eyes of the old man in front of him with those eyes. Looking at the pair of eyes in front of him, Dumbledore was in a daze inadvertently. These eyes were so similar to him. He was also attracted by these eyes that summer, and that summer was also the best memory in his life. Dumbledore paused, sighed and said tiredly, "You are my blood, don't deny it. You were not born naturally. You were born from an ancient magic. We created you with magic in 1955, but life created by magic cannot produce a soul. But your body continues to grow, and your magic power continues to increase. We were afraid that you would be killed by the out of control magic power, so we sealed you up. But the seal was lifted a year ago, and you were born without the soul. A powerful soul is as powerful as two souls and two as one, and you can control the violent magic power in your body now. It seems that this body has an extraordinary origin. The original body of this body had a soul, because it was too weak, and was suppressed by the magic power. After traveling through, the soul merged with it, before it woke up. Augustus thought silently. "By the way, when did you create me?" Augustus asked weakly. 1955. Dumbledore replied with a smile. When Augustus heard it, he could only say in his heart, "It's a plant." Chapter 3. The Magical World. Seeing the young man in front of him suddenly become silent, Dumbledore thought that he suddenly knew that his life experience was a bit unacceptable, and comforted him. "You have already gone home, child, so don't worry about anything, and don't be afraid. I'm worried. I'm living a good life. Relying on my down-to-earth personality and hard-working attitude, I have made a fortune in the blue ocean industry, robbery, in the United States, and I'm about to complete my primitive accumulation. I have never lived a shameless and decadent life of capitalism, but now I'm dragged here by this old dang. My money is gone, and my age has changed from a fresh meat to a middle-aged greasy man. Augustus thought, "Okay, what you want to know, what you want to know, go to rest first. You are also tired." Dumbledore said softly, and patted Augustus on the shoulder with his hand point, then yelled "Rab" into the air. There was a crackling sound in the air, and an ugly humanoid creature appeared in front of the two of them. "Oh, respect for the great headmaster Dumbledore. Rab is at your service," the ugly humanoid creature said in an extremely humble tone. "Don't be afraid, that this is a house elf. Take him to Gryffinder's bedroom to rest. I think our master is tired." Dumbledore said, "Of course, Rab is happy to serve the great headmaster Dumbledore. Come with me, sir," Rab said humbly with the house elf in front of him. It was easy to walk in this old castle. Augustus thought it was no wonder that Harry Potter got lost in the first class. It was really complicated enough in front of the portrait. "Password," the fat woman said. "Courage," Rab replied, and the frame swiveled to reveal a door. "Oh, dear sir, your room is the first one on the right, after going up the stairs on the left. Good night to you," Rab said humbly. "Thank you," Augustus simply replied. "Oh my god," the respected little wizard actually said thank you to Rab. No one has ever been so kind to Rab. Rab is so touched. The little elf actually passed out on the ground. Zingus too didn't bother to look at it anymore, and went directly upstairs to the bedroom. The bedroom was a single bedroom with a gorgeous 4-poster bed, and the bed was hung with gorgeous fiery red and gold rimmed curtains. When he came to bed, Augustus couldn't calm down for a long time. Although he got rich and reached the pinnacle of his life by relying on his understanding of history after time travel, he never thought that he would be in a novel which Harry Potter read in his previous life. It's been a few years since I watched a movie. Even if I use it a bit, who knows if there will be a butterfly effect. Oh, it's annoying. Just when Augustus was at a loss, he heard a ding in his head, and an emotionless mechanical voice came. "The strongest wizard system is online." The golden finger of the traveler came, and I said that God would not give up on me. Augustus thought excitedly, and quickly contacted the system in his mind. "Brother, you are finally here. I have been waiting so hard for you." "Wait, it's been so long. Is there any gift pack for beginners or something?" It has been detected that the host has learned about his life experience. Now open the personal attributes for the host. Name: Augustus Dumbledore. Age 11. Actual age 36. Stamina 15. Extraordinary. Intelligence 20. Genius. Soul strength 40. 1 in a million. Mana 600. Elite aura. Charms. None. Blood Phoenix. Evaluate the little slag with magic power. Part of the mystery of life experience has been solved, and part of the understanding of the magic world has given out a novice reward. Elementary magic cracked version. The cracked version is the version cracked by countless magic masters. Even trolls can learn it. Pet Phoenix. The blood of the Dumbledore family brought you a phoenix. It will be the most loyal partner. Wand. Elderberry ancestral tail feathers. 13 inches. Tough, extremely powerful, the system imitation of the Elder Wand, which reduces the consumption of magic power by 50% and increases the power of magic by 100%. Augustus was very excited, and he had to be Goldfinger, really strong. Okay, it's too late to go to bed now. The real big brother of the wizarding world is coming. Early the next morning, the Gryffindor lounge at Hogwarts Castle. Sitting at the desk in his temporary dormitory, Augustus silently began to contact the system in his mind. "Are you there?" Call back. Yes, the host can ask the system any questions he has, and the system will answer the host's doubts. A mechanical voice with no emotion came. "By the way, can you change the voice? The mechanical voice is too cold, and it's uncomfortable to listen to. And do you have a name?" Augustus said slowly. The system was silent for a while and said slowly, "This system has no name, and the sound is just like this. But in order to take care of the host, a customized upgrade can be performed." Great. It seems that my system is still very user-friendly. Augustus thought about it and began to contact the system. "You will be called Ziomo from now on, and you can use an ordinary Lali accent for your voice." Augustus foolishly thought that having a Lali living in his mind would definitely be better than a cold system, but before he thought about it for a long time, he heard the cold reply from the system. "It is detected that the host has abnormal thoughts. Only names are accepted, voice customizations are rejected, and customizations are no longer accepted." Ah, Augustus wailed in his heart, and then began to ask himself why he came here, and whether there was a deviation in this world. After a while, Augustus almost understood the meaning of this system. He was brought into this world by the Supreme Will. As compensation for the Supreme Will, the system came to assist him, but the system was not complete, so he had to complete the Supreme Will. The task given by God's will, to explore the source of magic in this world to complete the system. However, the mystery system on my body will not answer. It means that the will of the world is suppressed, and the problems of the current world must be explored by myself. Forget it. With the system, what Voldemort, the White Demon King, and the Dark Lord are all younger brothers. With this open body and system assistance, I want to be the strongest in the magical world. In my previous life, a social animal died suddenly at work. I will be the strongest in my life. Just do what you say, and take out your novice gift bag first. Point, he said silently in his mind. Xiaomo picked up the novice gift pack. Ding, the novice gift pack has been extracted successfully. Please pay attention to check it. A mechanical voice came. Immediately there were 3 more circles of light on the desk. The circles of light dissipated. A book, a magic wand, and a flaming egg appeared on the desk. Augustus first picked up the book and looked at it. Elementary Magic Cracked Edition is actually rich in content, and the spells in it are enough to learn for 4 or 5 years. High-end black and white magic such as the Unforgivable Wrath Curse, and there is a detailed interpretation of the truth system that even trolls can learn. Putting down the book, he looked at the wand next to him. It was exactly the same shape as the Elder Wand, except that every knuckle on this wand was engraved with complex magic patterns, and the grooves were filled with emeralds, which looked gorgeous and weird. Picking up the wand, suddenly a strong energy hit Augustus. It was the wand that was struggling. It didn't seem to recognize the owner very much. Of course, Augustus was not used to it. The violent magic power poured in like a flood. The wand stopped jumping for just a few seconds. It succumbed to the mighty force. After subduing the wand, Augustus focused his eyes on the egg. It's really beautiful. Augustus sighed. The surface of the ostrich egg-sized egg was covered with fiery red flame patterns, and the eggshell particles were still with a little bit of golden light. You can feel the strong vitality inside through the eggshell. How will the little devil hatch it? Augustus thought silently. Use the magic power of the host to ignite the flame. Put the egg in the flame. Drip a drop of blood on the egg every day, and it will hatch after 20 days. It is listed in the flame magic book. The voice of the system came. Alright. Augustus picked up the book and flipped through it and found the flame curse. In order to prevent a fire from burning down his dormitory, Augustus went downstairs to the fireplace in the common room and put the phoenix egg on it. Enter the fireplace and read the spell according to the explanation in the book. The incendio, blazing flame, fireplace started to burn. In order to keep the flame going, Augustus had to stay in the common room and regularly output magic power to the flame of the fireplace. Augustus thought for a while and called the house elf who brought him over and asked him to inform Dumbledore of his situation and told it to remember to deliver the 3 meals on time, and he was about to start preparing to face this magical world. Chapter 4 Phoenix Hatching. Time January 1991. 8 It has been 20 days since Augustus hatched the phoenix eggs in the fireplace. With the enhancement of Augustus's magic power, he may release the burning spell that can last for more than 24 hours. So he left the Gryffindor common room on the 3rd day and started his Hogwarts pathfinding journey. Because there were no students in the college during the summer vacation, and most of the professors went on vacation, the empty castle looked very deserted. So after a few days of shopping, it was not interesting, and after ensuring that he would not be confused in class in the future, they all returned to the Gryffindor common room and began to practice magic in the systematic mental simulation practice room until today. Today is the last day. It seems that my little one is about to be born. Augustus said happily, then picked up the elderberry wand and tapped it on his hand. A drop of blood dripped on the eggshell, and it immediately dripped onto the eggshell. A magical vortex seemed to be formed in the place, sucking all the surrounding flames into it. It's not enough. What a greedy little guy, Augustus said with a smile, then raised his wand and pointed it at the phoenix egg and began to instill magic power. Magic infusion doesn't need those fancy spells. Violent but pure magic power began to infuse into the phoenix egg crazily. After 3 or 4 minutes, Augustus felt that the magic power in his body was almost exhausted. Cold sweat broke out on his head, and his arms began to tremble. Don't underestimate the magic power output in these few minutes. If the output of magic power is called a long flow of water, then the output of Augustus' magic power can be called the Three Gorges flood release. Ordinary people have long been sucked into doing this. Going on like this is not an option, Augustus thought, so he shouted to Ziomo in his heart. Yes, is there a problem, host? What's going on here? Didn't you say that, as long as the magic flame and the master's blood can hatch? Now this phoenix egg is like a black hole that keeps devouring my magic power, and I will be sucked dry by it in a while. Augustu yelled in his head. After the system analysis, the phoenix has mutated because of a certain blood in your body. The solution is to use a lot of magic power to forcibly spawn it. Ziomo replied coldly. I know. Now I can no longer control my magic power, and I will finish playing in a few minutes. Find a way, little devil, brother Mo, Kiuli cream. Augustus said humbly. When it is detected that the host's life is in danger, the opening system is shown in the exchange page. The host has signed him for 20 consecutive days and has 200 magic points. It can be seen that 20 bottles of MP potion can be exchanged. MP potion can instantly recover 300 magic points, and the speed is accelerated 4 times per second. 10 points can be superimposed for 30 minutes. Whether to exchange. Exchange. Augustus muttered silently, and in an instant, 20 blue potions neatly packed in test tubes appeared beside his arm. Augustus didn't have time to observe these potions at this time, so he picked them up and drank them in one go. After drinking 10 bottles, the majestic magic power gushes out from the body. It is indeed produced by the system and must be a high quality product. With the blessing of these 10 bottles of blue medicine, Augustus felt that the magic power in his body became inexhaustible like the sea, so he stabilized his arms and continued to instill magic power on the phoenix egg. After about half an hour, Augustus suddenly felt that the transmission of magic power was interrupted. It seems that there is no need for these 10 bottles of potion. After thinking about it, he waved his hand and put the potion into the system space. This is what he got when he signed him for the first time. There are 10 cubic meters that can be put in anything except living things. Augustus put away his wand and quietly looked at the phoenix egg in front of him. After a while, there was still no reaction. Augustus couldn't help poking the eggshell with his hand, and suddenly a mysterious feeling came to his heart. He felt that his heart was connected to the heart in the egg. At this moment, the phoenix egg in front of it began to shake violently, and then ignited a golden flame. With a chirping sound, the crisp birdsong pierced the quiet air in the lounge. A big fiery bird flew out of the flames and began to circle around Augustus's head. It was singing continuously, melodious. The singing resounded through the sky. The phoenix landed on Augustus's shoulder and rubbed its head against his neck. Augustus also turned his head and began to observe it carefully. The whole body of this phoenix was covered with golden feathers. There are a few red feathers on the paws, head feathers and tail feathers, and it is obviously an adult, very handsome and heroic. What's going on, little devil? Augustus said silently. Ding, it is detected that the host has hatched a phoenix mutation, completely activating the blood of the Dumbledore family. The Dumbledore family once made a contract with the Phoenix family. The blood of the phoenix is flowing in your body, and the flame is your best partner, and acquire fire element proficiency. There is such a good thing. Ziomo. When he opened the personal information list, a white list unfolded in Augustus's mind. Name Augustus Dumbledore bloodline. Phoenix. There are 2 more unknown mana. 750. Elite aura. Fantastic beasts. Phoenix. Mutated. Magic. Level 2 flying curse. Level 2 curse standing. Level 2 quick imprisonment. Level 2 dewy. And level 4 flame. Level 1 magic wand can be cast barely. Level 2 magic wand can be skillfully cast. Level 3 magic spell can cast spells without a wand. Level 4 magic brother can cast spells silently. And level 5 magic spells can add the properties of other spells. Special ability, mastery of fire element soul strength. 40, 1 in 10,000. Devil brother talent 10, you are male in alive. Transformation talent 4, normal, potion talent 6. Extraordinary talent, dark arts talent. 9. Azkaban, prophecy talent. 0. Unknown lineage, cannot be activated, strange animal affinity. 0. Unknown lineage, cannot be activated, evaluation, you have a certain strength, the activation of blood will bring you endless potential, and the road to the strongest is at hand. Looking at the personal information, there are 2 question marks behind the blood, indicating that this body of his own still has secrets, and Dumbledore does not have it. Telling himself all his life experiences, it seems that he has to explore slowly by himself. Otis's silent thinking. A bird chirping interrupted Augustus' thinking. Augustus came back to his senses, and apologized to Phoenix. You were just born, let me give you a name. Aog Stu said softly, you will be golden, just like the sun god bird in the country where I lived in my last life. So you can be called Heou, the head of the god bird, how about it? Phoenix tweeted cheerfully. It seemed that he was very satisfied with the name. Heouzuan, I'll take you to meet your kind. As Augustus said, holding Heouzuan with one hand, he walked out of the Gryffindor common room one by one. Chapter 5 ready to go. One person and one bird asked, rolling slowly in Hogwarts Castle. This is not because Augustus has not visited the castle enough, but to let Heouzuan remember the situation of this castle. This castle has a strong reaction. The apparition magic circle, so we need to leave some more magic marks here, so that we can use the phoenix to apparate at Hogwarts in the future. How's it going, Heoli? Are the marks done? Augustus asked softly, touching Phoenix's back. Chirp. Heoli let out a clear cry, then cast his head at Augustus contemptuously, and pecked the back of Augustus' hand with his beak. Augustus looked at Heoli on his shoulder, thinking that this little guy was still arrogant, so he quickly touched Heola's head with his hand, and then communicated with it with magic power. Don't be angry, I know you can do it, and I don't believe you at all. After all, our family is the strongest phoenix. After saying this, Heou slowly turned his head around, and then looked at Augustus with those small eyes, as if to say, you are still a smart boy, and then there was a melodious ethereal female voice in the backseat came. Kid, you have to remember, I'm the boss between the two of us. Augustus looked at Heou in surprise and said silently, so you are the mother. When Heou heard this, he was stunned for a moment, and then he started to attack Augustus frantically, pecking and clawing, which made Augustus very embarrassed. He could only beg for mercy repeatedly. After persuading and pleading for a long time, Heou calmed down, and was still sulking, turning his head aside and ignoring Augustus. Stopping and stopping, I came to the 8th floor of Hogwarts Castle, in front of a gargoyle statue, and the principal's office was behind the gargoyle. Augustus walked over slowly and said, I want to see Dumbledore. Principal Leto. The gargoyle slowly replied, password yes, a password is needed. What's the matter? I seem to remember one, when I watched a movie in my previous life. Let's take a bet. Augustus said slowly, Lemon Zubeo. The password is wrong. Hearing this, Augustus felt a stomachache. Did he have a mentality? After thinking about it, these things are all magical creations with their own ideas and personalities. It seems that plan B is going to be used. So Augustus said loudly to the gargoyle, I'm Augustus Dumbledore, the heir to Dumbledore's principal. If you don't open the door, I will dismantle you and throw you away when I succeed the principal. Feed the fish in the Black Lake. The gargoyle on the opposite side was silent, and after a while it turned away. A spiral staircase was revealed, and an old voice came from inside. Don't threaten it, it doesn't have that kind of wisdom. And this week's password, it's a pile of cockroaches. The pile of cockroaches is really evil. Augustus thought about it, and slowly walked up the spiral staircase. When I came to the principal's office, it was a duplex structure with a very high ceiling and a luxurious office. The surrounding walls were covered with picture frames, on which were the previous principals. They all moved freely, and had a certain degree of self-awareness. Seeing Augustus after entering, chattering started. It seems that you are doing well. Are you still used to the environment here? Dumbledore said. It's okay, at least it's better than mine in the United States. I still want to ask, what do you want to bring me here? Augustus says hearing this, Dumbledore sighed and said slowly, I never wanted to harm your child, although your birth was due to a mistake, and I have an inescapable responsibility for it, but you believe that there is a relationship between us. Connected by blood, I'm your relative, and the phoenix on your shoulder is proof. Then how are you going to arrange for me? Augustus says of course you are going to school now. Every little wizard will come to Hogwarts. Here you will gain friendship, and of course it may be love. After all, our little Mr. Dumbledore is so handsome. After Dumbledore finished speaking, he blinked at Augustus. After listening to the black lines all over his head, Augustus thought that this old man must be boasting, because when he was here last time, the portraits said that he looked very similar to him when he was young. No, he was more handsome. Gathering his mind, Augustus said slowly, then what should I call you? I can't really call you Dad directly, then I can't accept it. Dumbledore thought for a while and said, you can call me a professor. If someone asks you, just say that I'm your grandfather, so as to avoid some unscrupulous careerists taking the opportunity to make trouble. Augustus thought to himself that there must be something wrong with his own life experience. If it was just a magic experiment, there is no need to cover it up like this. After all, so many years have passed. Forget it, I'm a man who wants to become the strongest wizard. Do it until it is served. Dumbledore slapped his forehead after finishing speaking, and then said in an apologetic tone, it is easy to forget things when you are old. This is your admission letter. Forgive an old man. After speaking, Dumbledore stood up from behind his desk, opened the drawer of the desk, took out a white envelope from it, walked down the steps, and handed the envelope to Augustus, then said with a smile, every little wizard, everyone will receive this letter and you are no exception. Augustus took the envelope from Dumbledore, looked at it, and saw the Hogwarts emblem, snake, on it point lion point honey badger, the 4 animals of the mountain eagle and the 4 places of the coat of arms respectively. In the middle is a round wax seal. The bottom is written, received by Mr. Augustus Dumbledore from the headmaster's office on the 8th floor of Hogwarts. Augustus took a deep breath, slowly opened the envelope that all the children in the previous life had dreamed of, took out the paper inside and unfolded it. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry Headmaster, Albus Dumbledore, Sir Merlin First Class, Chief Wizard of the Wizengamot, President of the International Federation of Wizards. Dear Mr. Dumbledore, we are delighted to inform you that you have been accepted to study at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. A list of required books and supplies is enclosed with this letter. Semester begins on September. We will wait for your owl reply before July. Your loyalty, Minerva McGonagall, Vice Principal, female. Augustus looked at it, curled his lips and said, it says to reply before July 23rd, and it's already August Road. What do you want me to do? Dumbledore smiled and said, actually, this is just a formality. Every little wizard will feel a kind of heartfelt joy when they receive this letter. You should also enjoy your child and live a happy and beautiful life. Then what should you do now? Augustus says, of course I went shopping in Diagon Alley. Every little wizard should complete his preschool shopping with the company of his family. This is a manifestation of love. Dumbledore said, how do we get there? Augustus asked, let's apparate over there. Take your phoenix. As long as you go there once, you can use the phoenix to apparate to Diagon Alley in the future. Dumbledore said, okay. Hey Oli, don't bully Fergus anymore. Let's go. We have business to do. Augustus shouted to Haoiu, who was next to him, and Haoiu has been looking for Fergus since he first came here. Not only occupied Fergus's nest, but also ate up its snacks. Fergus could only squat in the corner pitifully and look at his strange kind. Haozuan let out a cry and flew back to Augustus' shoulder. Augustus turned his head to look at Dumbledore and said, get ready, let's go. Chapter 6, Diagon Alley. Charles Cross Road, Westminster, London, England. The entrance of Diagon Alley, the Leaky Cauldron Bar, is located here. This bar has a dilapidated appearance, a medieval decoration style, and it looks particularly eerie without sunlight. In the Leaky Cauldron, because it was lunchtime, there were many customers. They were eating, drinking beer, and exchanging the latest news. An old-looking middle-aged man with almost no hair was wiping a wine glass at the bar. His name is Tom Abbott, and he is a member of the Abbott family. The Abbott family is a pure-blood family, one of the 28 holy families. The leaky cauldron is the property of the Abbott family. Old Tom is also the boss here. Years. Crack. With a bang, a massive red flames ignited in the bar, and when the flames burned out, the figures of Augustus and Dumbledore appeared in the bar. Oh, look who this is. Principal Dumbledore, would you like to come to the leaky cauldron for fun? Seeing Dumbledore's old Tom, he asked very happily and excitedly. Good afternoon, Tom. No need, I'm here to accompany my grandson Augustus to buy school supplies today. This is my grandson Augustus Dumbledore. After Dumbledore finished speaking, he patted Augustus on the shoulder and introduced to old Tom. Augustus reluctantly saluted old Tom as a gentleman. Dumbledore, this is your grandson, the blood of the Dumbledore family, Melon's beard. I never knew that there are new members of your Dumbledore family. I'm so surprised. Old Tom said excitedly, then shook Augustus's hand wildly, and then said, little Mr. Dumbledore, you are such a handsome little wizard, and you will definitely become a great wizard like Principal Dumbledore. Have you eaten lunch? If not, you can use some here. Thank you. We still have to go to Diagon Alley to shop, and we have to go back early. Augustus replied. That's right. Every little wizard wants to go to Toyong Lane quickly. Is this your first time here? Said old Tom. Augustus nodded slightly, and old Tom said, then let me guide you. Melon's underpants. I never thought of being able to guide a Dumbledore. This is my honor, sir. Old Tom took the two of them to the backyard of the leaky cauldron, which was a courtyard enclosed on all sides, with nothing but a trash can and some weeds. Old Tom stepped forward, took out his wand, put it on the trash can, counted 3 times vertically, and counted twice horizontally, then tapped the brick 3 times with his wand, and the wall trembled instantly. The bricks began to move to both sides, finally revealing a passage. Diagon Alley, I hope you have a pleasant afternoon. Old Tom pointed to the street ahead and said softly, Augustus, let's go. Dumbledore entered Diagon Alley, followed closely by Augustus. The passage behind them gradually narrowed, then reverted to a solid wall. Since it was noon, there were not many pedestrians on the street, but all the shops were already open. What do you want to buy first? Dumbledore asked. Let's not talk about what to buy. All my belongings are left in the United States. I don't have any money to buy things. Does the headmaster of Hogwarts want to help? Augustus said slowly. Dumbledore felt a tingling in his heart and said reluctantly, how much do you want? Augustus thought for a while and said with a smile, you said that I'm your grandson, so I'm also a member of the Dumbledore family. In order to maintain the honor of the family, I must not be able to do anything about money. Besides supplies, give me 10,000 gold galleons every year. When Dumbledore heard it, his eyes darkened, and he almost fainted. He said with difficulty, at most 100 galleons a year. The old man's retirement will not be much. Please be considerate. Augustus was not happy when he heard that. As for sending the beggars, the money I lost in the United States was worth $100 in that one action alone, and 500 galleons was only pounds. No, absolutely not. So the old and the young negotiated the price as they walked, and finally reached an agreement to give Augustus 1,000 galleons a year, but Dumbledore had to find a way to transfer his property left in the United States to Eagle Park. Dumbledore took Augustus into Madame Malkin's robe shop. As soon as he entered the shop, Madame Malkin greeted her. She was a short fat woman with a kind face and a pleasant smile, dressed in violet robe. Principal Dumbledore, do you want to buy new clothes? Don't worry, this is the best in Diagon Alley. No, ma'am, it's my grandson. He's going to order a Hogwarts uniform, and he's going to school too. Dumbledore replied with a smile. Oh, the new member of the Dumbledore family, my dear, you are so handsome. Well, please stand on this. Don't be shy, baby. Mrs. Morquan finished speaking with a smile, asked Augustus to stand on a stool, and then a tape measure that could measure automatically flew to Augustus and began to measure. Oh, don't worry dear, it will be ready soon. By the way, what fabric are you going to use? After listening to Augustus, he looked at his dear grandfather and said with a sneer, don't be the best, just the most expensive. My grandfather is the headmaster of Hogwarts. How can I be short of money? By the way, I still need one more. The ready to wear is going to be worn now. Oh, of course no problem. Mrs. Malkin said with a smile on her face, and happily walked to the back of the shop. Dumbledore looked at the little bastard in front of him with a dark face, thinking that he might not be able to keep his old age rights. Mrs. Malkin came out soon, holding a black robe that was obviously expensive at first glance, and said to Augustus with a smile, "Come and try it. If there is any problem, I will change it." Augustus took the robe from Mrs. Malkin and changed it in the fitting room. When Augustus stood in front of the two wearing the new wizard robe, both of them's eyes lit up. Point with a perfect figure, a face that can confuse all living beings, and a custom-made robe that fits well. Ichimurato is simply too handsome. "Oh dear, you are the most handsome little wizard I have ever seen." Madame Malkin clutched her chest with an expression of fainting. "Thank you, and your workmanship is also excellent, ma'am." Augustus sincerely thanked Madame Malkin's Long Hug store as Hogwarts' directional partner. In addition to the fact that there are too few people in the wizarding world, its own craftsmanship is also the best. After all, Diagon Alley, the most prosperous commercial street in the magic world of Eagle Country, still has a lot of shops selling clothing. After politely declining Mrs. Malkin and asking to take pictures as models in their store, the grandparent and grandson left Madame Malkin's Long Hug store and stood on the street in Diagon Alley. Dumbledore looked at Augustus. He smiled and said, "This dress suits you very well. What do you want to buy now?" Augustus thought for a while and replied, "A wand, of course, Grandpa." Chapter 7 OLLIVANDER and -039 S1 shop. Because it is the annual school season at Hogwarts, and it is just after lunchtime, Diagon Alley will be extraordinarily busy at this time, and many wizarding families bring their young wizards to do school opening shopping. In addition to wizarding families, some adults in muggle costumes can also be seen shopping here with their children. Most of them are very excited, looking around like their own children. And those wizards mostly don't care about these people. A very few wizards who can be known as the so-called pureblood nobles at a glance show contemptuous eyes, and even cover their mouths and noses with handkerchiefs, as if they can't breathe the same air as these people same. In fact, in terms of bloodlines, there is no pure blood at all. Most wizards are of mixed blood. It is just wishful thinking to insist on the concept of pure blood. Like the famous Gaunt family, which claim to be the blood of Slytherin, the oldest pureblood in the Eagle Kingdom, but because of the marriage of close relatives, the people are either stupid or ugly, and Voldemort's mother was killed. Love potion. As a result, little Tom, Voldemort's name, was born, although he inherited his father's beauty, but because of the result of the potion and the harsh growth environment, when he was a child, he eventually became a terrorist. While walking, Augustus thought, "Are you sure you don't want to eat it? This vanilla is sweet and delicious." Dumbledore, the old bee, came out of Madame Malkin's robe shop, went to the Honeydukes dessert shop, bought 2 big cones, and happily gave one to Augustus, but he almost tasted it. Sweet backed away. So Dumbledore had to eat 2 of them, holding 2 cones, just like a KFC grandfather. Augustus glanced at Dumbledore, and then said word by word, "Sweets are not good for the elderly, especially prone to diabetes, and I don't really want to be an orphan." Dumbledore said with a smile, "Stop preaching to such an old man, young Mr. Dumbledore, but don't worry, I won't make you an orphan so soon." After speaking, he blinked at Augustus. The two strolled slowly, and Dumbledore kept talking to Augustus all the way, as if he had really turned into an elderly grandfather shopping with his grandson. Dumbledore and Augustus came to Ollivander's One Shop. Ollivander's One Shop is a small and dilapidated shop. Even the golden signboard at the door has peeled off and can only be vaguely seen. It says, Ollivander, who has been crafting fine wands since 382 BC. Augustus looked at this small shop. As one of the 3 largest arms dealers in the European magic world, he really had no reputation at all. Of course Augustus has a replica of the Elder Wand, provided by the system, but who wouldn't want another wand if possible? After all, the best way to get hit by the disarming charm is to take out another wand on your body and tell the opposite side that the times have changed. When the two entered the shop, the bell behind the shop door jingled. The whole shop was very small, except for a long table. There were thousands of long and narrow boxes. The boxes were stacked up to the ceiling, and inside each box was a wand. "Albus, why are you here? I guess there is nothing wrong with your wand." Just as Augustus was looking around, a soft voice sounded, and an old man came out from the warehouse behind the store. "Garrick, it's not me. It's my grandson. He needs a wand. He's going to Hogwarts soon." Dumbledore shook hands with the old man, pointed to Augustus, and said softly. Ollivander turned his head to look at Augustus, and said in disbelief, "A new Dumbledore? Really unbelievable. Your name, sir?" "Okay sir, my name is Augustus Dumbledore, you read that right. I'm the grandson of Albus Dumbledore. Augustus, the Emperor." Ollivander muttered in a low voice, "Okay, little Mr. Dumbledore, come on, let me see, which arm are you used to?" As Mr. Ollivander spoke, he took a silver measuring tape from his pocket. "Right hand, of course left hand, Sir." Augustus replied. "Raise your hand, I need to measure it for you." The silver measuring tape flew up and down, and began to measure automatically, measuring him from top to bottom. Every Ollivander wand has a super magical material, which is their essence. We usually use unicorn hair, phoenix tail feathers and dragon nerves. Every Ollivander wand is unique, as no two unicorns, dragons and phoenixes are alike. Of course, members of your Dumbledore family are generally favored by phoenixes. As he spoke, Mr. Ollivander took several long boxes from the shelves. "Come on, Mr. Dumbledore, try this one, pepperwood and phoenix tail feathers, 12 inches. Ollivander hands Augustus a wand. As soon as Augustus took the wand, a voice came from his mind. "It is detected that there are fragments of the source of magic nearby. Please find the host as soon as possible." The task is completed. The reward: Elementary Spell Advanced Edition. Open the system store. 3000 magic points. Augustus was taken aback. He didn't expect to trigger a system task here. After looking at the reward: Elementary Spells Advanced Edition, he should be able to practice these commonly used spells to level 4, and he can cast spells silently. "There is no need for many stores," said. "The miraculous effect of MP potion is still vivid in my mind. 3000 magic points. You have to know that it is only 10 magic points to sign in a day, and 3000 magic points have caught up with the number of sign-ins in a year." Augustus said to the system in his mind, "ZOMO, how do I find this fragment, and do you have any hints?" This fragment is an element that is proficient in the element of the host. The host can release its own magic power of the fire element to find it. ZOMO replied. Ollivander stared at the young man in front of him and was stunned, then pushed Augustus with his hand and said, "Use a spell, little Mr. Dumbledore, and we'll see if it suits you." Incendio Flaming Flame, a gorgeous flame phoenix, flew out from the tip of the wand and circled around the roof of this small shop. "Too perfect, too beautiful. I have never seen a person with such magical talent. Augustus, you will achieve more than your grandfather." Mr. Ollivander seemed very happy. He excitedly held Augustus's hand and said, "That's it. There is no one that suits you better than this. The flame phoenix is the proof." Augustus glanced at it. The phoenix above his head shook his head, cancelled the spell, put the phoenix back into the wand, put the wand back into the box, and said firmly, "No, it's not it. You have something more suitable for me. There must be. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8: Phoenix Divine Fire. Impossible. There is no one that suits you better than this. The flame phoenix is proof. Otherwise how could there be such a perfect spell casting? The child chooses the wizard with the wand, not the wizard chooses the wand. There is nothing wrong. This is the best wand for you." Mr. Ollivander shouted, as if very angry, flushed and waved his arms. "Son, you can't be wrong. Ollivander is the best wand maker in Eagle Country. He can't be wrong. And this wand is the same as the wand I used the first time. The same material, the same core. It chose you." Dumbledore came to Augustus and said softly, "Yes, this wand has chosen you, and you can see that its colors have dimmed since you gave it up." Ollivander stroked the wand lightly, as if comforting a crying child, with a sour tone, as if Augustus had abandoned her daughter. "Actually, there is no need to argue. Just bring me a wand, and I can still release that level of magic," Augustus said. Mr. Ollivander gave him a cold look, as if looking at a troll, and then he turned to Dumbledore. Dumbledore stroked his beard and nodded to Mr. Ollivander. Reluctantly, Mr. Ollivander took a few more boxes off the shelf. If you can use these wands to release the magic just now, I believe what you said is true. Otherwise you can only take the wand just now. As Mr. Ollivander spoke, he handed over a new wand. Apple tree and unicorn hair, 12 and 4/3 inches. It's nothing like the wand just now. Augustus took the new wand handed over by Ollivander, and without thinking about it, he waved it, and said incendio is blazing. A group of shining flames spewed out, and immediately turned into a flame phoenix, singing loud and clear, circling and flying above everyone's heads. It's impossible. How could it be like this? Try this one again. Mr. Ollivander exclaimed excitedly, looking as if he had seen a ghost, and immediately handed him a new wand. Augustus cancelled the spell, and returned the old wand. Although his mastery of magic power was already very high, if someone accidentally burned the shop down, it would be a big joke, even though Dumbledore was by his side. Be careful though. Augustus took the new wand, and heard Mr. Ollivander say, acacia tree and dragon's nerf, 10 inches, very powerful. Augustus picked up his wand, and said incendio is blazing. It was the same result again, but this time the flame of the flame phoenix was obviously more vigorous. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible. Mr. Ollivander kept repeating this sentence, as if in a daze, and then rushed to his warehouse. After a while, he rushed out again holding a pile of dusty boxes. These are the works I practiced when I was young. Basically, no one can use them. Augustus, try them. If you can use them to cast spells, I will approve of you. Mr. Ollivander handed over a strange wand as he spoke, and said, black maple, troll's nose hair, very strange. When Augustus heard this, he rolled his cute eyes, thinking that the troll's nose hair, Leodeng, was also a talent when he was young, and this kind of cerebral palsy configuration can be done. Augustus took the wand, and said with a wave, incendio is blazing. Still the same result without any difference, only the flame phoenix released this time seems a bit naive. But Mr. Ollivander still seemed unconvinced, and asked Augustus to try more than a dozen wands, including the poison glands of phantom frogs and the nerves of horned snakes, but without exception, Augustus could cast spells perfectly. Now Mr. Ollivander was completely autistic, squatting in the corner, and muttering to himself, impossible, impossible. In fact, what Mr. Ollivander said is correct. The wand chooses the wizard, but Augustus's flame spell is too high. As long as he uses this spell, no matter what spell he can cast perfectly. Of course, this cannot be explained to them. The most important thing now is to find a way to find the original fragment of magic. After finishing Mr. Ollivander, Augustus immediately shouted in his mind, Ziomo, can you confirm what shape the fragments are now? The host is really, if you don't use your brain, you can donate it to those in need. The wand shop must be in the form of a wand. The stupid host is too lazy to talk to you. After hearing this, the black line on Augustus's head, no matter whether he was a little more cautious or a little nervous about doing the task for the first time, people will be nervous for the first time, right? Augustus settled down and calmly recalled that the little devil said that the original fragments of magic were of the fire attribute, and he needed to use the magic power of the fire attribute to arouse its resonance. How to transform his own magic power into the fire attribute? Augustus thought for a long time, and suddenly he had a flash of inspiration. By the way, I have a problem, and I have a phoenix. I blame Ollivander, the old man, for messing around, which made him confused. Hey-oh. Augustus yelled into the air. A flame ignited in the air, and then a big bird flew out of the flame, circled in the air for a circle, and landed firmly on Augustus's shoulder. Augustus stroked Hey-oh's back, and said in a heart-to-heart communication, my lady queen, this time I will rely on you to complete this arduous task. After the task is completed, I will buy you any snacks you want. After the principal's office last time, Augustus has already understood that his phoenix is its dear queen, a big foodie, and if he wants help from it, he will follow it. Hey-oh, let out a happy cry, seemed very satisfied with Augustus's attitude, flew to Augustus's head and circled. Augustus didn't talk nonsense, he directly raised his hand, closed his eyes, and then used his own magic power to connect with Heir's magic power, realizing the combination of the two magic powers into one. When Augustus felt that his own magic power and Heir's magic power merged into one, and when his own magic power was transmitted back to himself, he felt a hot burning sensation, indicating that the attribute conversion of the magic power had been completed. Incendio is blazing. Augustus recited this spell again. This time there was no flame phoenix, only a terrifying and violent flame whirlwind appeared around Augustus. The whirlwind of flame soared into the sky, directly burning the roof of Ollivander's magic shop, and the little flames rushed with magic power, knocking the shelves tottering, but the flames were also constantly sensing their surroundings. The flame whirlwind lasted for less than a minute, and finally a small flame in the innermost warehouse brought back a message that it had been found. Chapter 9. The finite incantatum spell stops immediately. A loud shout came, and Dumbledore used magic. He would never have imagined that Augustus would cause such a big trouble today. The terrifying firestorm was too terrifying. In a few minutes Ollivander's one shop would be gone in the dust. Dumbledore's powerful magic power forcibly interrupted Augustus's spellcasting, and the flame storm slowly stopped. Dumbledore came to Augustus and said softly, "Son, you're looking for something, but you've acted too aggressively anyway, and now you must apologize to Mr. Ollivander." Augustus heard what Dumbledore said, but he didn't take any action. He just continued to close his eyes. Just now, his own flame brought back the information, but the old man interrupted the casting of the spell. Now he wants to analyze the news of the magic feedback. Otherwise, there will be another flame storm, and this small shop may really become history. Dumbledore looked at Augustus and found that he was unmoved at all, still standing there straight with his eyes closed, took a deep breath, touched his face blackened by the flames, and turned to look at Augustus who was crouching in the corner. Levin said apologetically, "Garrick, I'm sorry, I didn't expect such a situation to happen today. Don't worry, I'll fix it for you, and I'll compensate you for the damage caused." After finishing speaking, he picked up the Elder Wand and wanted to restore the spellcasting of the completely unrecognizable Ollivander one shop. Mr. Ollivander in the corner suddenly stood up, quickly ran to Dumbledore's side, and firmly pressed Dumbledore's wand-holding hand with his hands. Dumbledore was taken aback for a moment, thinking that the little old man must have been angered by Augustus for something, so he comforted him softly. "Garrick, you don't have to worry, it's just some small problems that I can solve, and I will compensate you for any losses. Don't be too angry, tell me if you feel uncomfortable, I will try my best to help. No, shall I take you to St. Mungo's?" Hearing Dumbledore's mocking words, Ollivander gave the smiling old man a hard look, and then said mockingly, "Albus, you really don't see the problem. You, the strongest wizard of this century, are still not strong enough. You didn't see that bastard. Although the magic is powerful, but the magic control is extremely precise. Although the surrounding area was in a mess, nothing was burned. These things were only destroyed by the wind force generated by magic." Dumbledore was stunned for a moment, looked around carefully, and there was a ripple in his heart, and then he said to Ollivander, "Then you know what he's up to, Garrick." "I don't know exactly, but I'm sure he's looking for something," Ollivander replied, then fixed his eyes on the boy in front of him. After a few minutes, Augustus opened his eyes, exhaled slowly, turned his head to Ollivander and said apologetically, "I'm very sorry, sir, for making this place like this. We will repair it. As for the compensation, you can go to my grandfather. After all, I'm just a child. Please forgive me, sir." Hearing Augustus's words, Dumbledore felt another burst of angina, and just about to say something, Ollivander spoke first. "Don't care about these. You found it right. You found what you wanted, right?" Ollivander said anxiously. "Yes, sir. Please give me the box on the 4th shelf, 3rd floor, next to the wall in the back warehouse. That's what I want." Augustus replied. Hearing that, Ollivander rushed to the warehouse with a stride. His vigorous figure did not look like an old man at all. Dumbledore also came over, looking at Augustus with a complicated expression, and Augustus could only smile at Dumbledore, trying to pass the test by being cute. After all, he was still a child. Seeing the smiling child in front of him, Dumbledore was stunned, and thought that he was a little too suspicious. After all, He was just a child. After a while, Ollivander came out with a black box in his arms. The box seemed not to be made of wood but metal, and the smooth surface exuded a strange aura. Ollivander put the box on the counter, and Dumbledore and Augustus also walked over. Looking at the box in front of him, Augustus felt his heart beating wildly, and his magic power was feeding back to him. That is, it's gone. This box was brought back by my grandfather when he went on an adventure in Egypt. According to my grandfather's description, he learned that it was the work of an ancient staff maker from the murals of the ruins, so he brought it back. There were powerful protective spells, and he couldn't open it, and finally had to give up on keeping it in storage. Ollivander said slowly. Augustus touched the wand box with his hand. As soon as his hand touched the wand box, his magic power was sucked into the box. The box absorbed the magic power and began to change. Ancient runes began to appear on the box. Within a few seconds, the box was covered with mysterious runes, which looked a lot like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. When the last rune was displayed, the magic power absorption ended. The box made a sound of mechanical operation and slowly opened. A golden red magic wand lay quietly inside. As soon as Augustus picked up the wand, a system voice came from his head. The magic source fragment, fire, has been found. Whether to extract it, the system can obtain the magic source fragment to complete the system function, and the reward will be automatically distributed in the system space after extraction. After extracting the fragments of the source of magic, will the wand be destroyed? Augustus replied, no, the magic source is too powerful. It is precisely because of the magic source fragments in the wand that it cannot be used. After the system absorbs the magic source fragments, the magic wand can be used normally. The system replied, okay, extract. Augustus replied, extracting. Please wait a moment. The system replied. After a few seconds, the system's voice came again. The extraction is complete. The reward has been issued, and it is detected that the wand in the host's hand has returned to normal. The system starts to check the wand. Please wait. The check is complete. Wand generation information. Magic flame holy artifact. The magic wand made by the ancient Egyptians who stole the feathers of the sun god incarnate phoenix, because it contains the original fragments of magic, fire, so it cannot be used by humans. So it was sealed by the ancient Egyptian high priest. Now it can be used normally, after being purified by the system. The special ability of the magic wand. When using it, the magic level of the fire attribute will be increased by 1. Augustus, looking at the information given by the system, it seems that he has not only completed the task, but also obtained an artifact. Chapter 10 Meeting Hermione for the first time. Augustus picked up the wand in his hand, and looked at it carefully. This wand was not made of wood like ordinary wands, but made of metal and crystal. A slender red crystal acts as the core of the wand. There seems to be a liquid flowing in the red crystal. It should be a powerful fire element energy. The periphery of the red crystal is 2 spirally wound golden metal wires. The whole wand looks very gorgeous. Such a beautiful, genius combination. A completely different way of making wands. Ollivander looked very excited. His eyes were fixed on the wand. His eyes were full of obsession, like an idiot discovering a peerless beauty. Hurry up and cast a spell. Let me see how this ancient magic wand casts spells. It will be very wonderful. Ollivander said excitedly. Augustus couldn't wait any longer, picked up his wand and read with a wave. Incendio is blazing. Flames spewed out from the tip of the wand, but no damage occurred where the flames passed. The places where the flames passed, the shattered glass fragments, the knocked down shelves, and the wand boxes scattered on the ground seemed to be turning back time. The glass shards were restored to a complete glass vase by the flames. The shelves were lifted up by the flames, and the wand boxes scattered on the ground were sent back to their original places one by the flames. In the end, the flames, like small people, picked up the wood debris on the ground and flew to the roof and began to repair the broken roof point. When the last flame had repaired the roof, the flames returned neatly to the wand. What kind of magic is this? Mr. Ollivander asked in surprise. It's just a combination of the flame spell and the repair spell. Don't be surprised, sir. It works normally. Augustus said slowly. It's just a combination of spells. Are all young wizards so outrageous now? How can you have such magical talent? It's too unimaginable. It's absolutely impossible. Ollivander said firmly, nothing is impossible. After all, my surname is Dumbledore, right? After speaking, Augustus looked at Dumbledore and smiled. When Dumbledore heard this, he said proudly, that's right. Okay sir, I found the wand I want. How much galleon does this wand cost? Augustus said. Ollivander looked at the grandparent and grandson in front of him, feeling aggrieved, and stretched out 5 fingers. Dumbledore was very happy when he saw it, and felt that his identity as the headmaster of Hogwarts was still useful, so he said modestly, it's better to have 7 galleons. 5 is a bit too little. Can't we do something special? Ollivander looked at the joking old man in front of him, sneered, and said slowly, no, 5 galleons is 5,000 galleons. Hearing that, the happy smile on Dumbledore's face disappeared instantly. He said hastily, 5,000 is too expensive. A wand needs so much money, and besides Augustus, no one can use it. So what? This wand is my grandfather's relic, but it is a cultural relic, and how much time you two have wasted my time. I have to pay more. 5,000 gold galleons. No counter offering. Ollivander said viciously. In this way, the 2 old men quarreled. One was for his own pension, and the other felt that his many years of experience in making sticks had been rubbed against the ground today, and refused to bargain in order to save face. Augustus looked at the 2 people in front of him, seeing that the situation would be endless for a while, so he had to play with Dumbledore for a little money, and went to buy the rest of the school supplies by himself. Augustus walked out of the gate of Ollivander's wand shop, looked at the 50 galleons in his hand, and cursed secretly. He wanted to ask Dumbledore for I00 galleons, but the old man, there is a sentence on the board. It is not safe for a little wizard to carry so much money, and he is only willing to give 50 galleons. Augustus put 50 galleons into a small bag. This is a storage bag he made himself. Inside, he cast an infinite stretching spell, which has a space of 3 cubic meters, and cast a fixed spell of floating spell. Curse, as long as the weight does not exceed 300 kilograms, it will feel nothing in the hand. Augustus walked on the streets of Diagon Alley, and watched Diagon Alley with people coming and going. It was still very strange. After all, things that can only be seen in movies suddenly appeared in reality. There is really a kind of magic, a feeling of. Augustus walked slowly, buying all the novelty items he had never seen before, including herbs, magic candies, snacks, and all kinds of magic toys, filling a small half pack, when suddenly a system voice came from his mind. Appear nearby important people in this world. Go to sign in to get rewards. Sign in the character. I have been with Dumbledore all the time. Why can't I sign in? Augustus asked. The system itself is not perfect. It only has certain functions. It was not possible to sign in characters before. Now that a part of the energy is recovered, it only triggers the sign in task occasionally. In order to restore the system function, please collect the original fragments of magic as soon as possible. Whether to accept the task, the system replied. Augustus heard that the black thread at one end had been co-authoring for a long time, and his system was a defective product, so he calmed down and said silently, accept. The host has accepted the task, given instructions, the system has marked the target, and the host has oriented himself to find the moon mark. Point me. Show me the way. Augustus read out his crystal wand. A thin red light shot out from the tip of the wand, forming a marked route. Augustus walked along this marked route, left Diagon Alley, entered Nocturne Alley, and turned a few turns to where in the dark and gloomy alley, a crying female voice was heard. I don't have any money anymore. All my money is used to buy books. I saw a male wizard in a black robe cornering a little girl, and an old witch in a black robe next to her was flipping through a lady's satchel. It seems that what she said is true. There is really no money. The old witch dropped the lady's satchel in her hand, and said without thinking, then sell her. This chick looks pretty good. Looking at her immature face, she should be able to sell for a good price. The male wizard touched the little girl's face and said lewdly. Hermione Granger looked at the ugly wizard in front of her and said such a sentence. She felt that she was finished. She was just a momentary sanctuary. She was tricked by the old witch. She said that she was sick and asked her to take him to see a doctor. I was brought to this alley by her in such a muddle-headed way. Not only was I robbed of all my money, but the pervert in front of me wanted to sell me. Hermione couldn't stop crying, thinking about who would save her. Chapter 11 Old-fashioned plot. Seeing the little brown hairball crying like rain, Augustus guessed that this was Hermione from the Hogwarts Iron Triangle. Don't guess the situation in front of him. Looting and trafficking. Such an old-fashioned plot. Augustus silently complained in his heart. Ding, the target person has been found. Contact the target person to complete the sign-in. The sound of the system sounded. It seems that we have to save people first, Augustus thought, so he gave a loud shout. In broad daylight, the world is clear. The gangster who came over there quickly let go of that girl and let me come. The three people on the opposite side were obviously stunned, because Augustus said this sentence in Chinese. I thought it was an aura. It turned out to be a little wizard. You look really good with your skin and tender flesh. Would you like to play a game with Uncle? Uncle will show you a big baby. When Augustus heard that Nimmer was still gay, he sighed that he really deserves to be a corrupt country. I heard the voice of the system in my head. The dignity of the strongest mage cannot be violated, and the transgressor must atone with blood, and the host is also a systematic person, and things must be in line with the identity of the transmigrator. After listening to the system's words, Augustus realized that the Nimmer with black hair was trying to pretend to be aggressive. He looked at the two black wizards in front of him, and said calmly, you let that girl go, I can let you live. After all, he was just an ordinary social animal in his previous life, and Augustus still didn't want to kill people. The two black wizards laughed out loud, as if they had heard some very funny joke, and the old witch pointed at Augustus and said, little handsome guy, did you say our lines? Come to mom, mom will love you very much. Hearing the word mom suddenly, Augustus fell silent, remembering that in his past life like shit, only his mother loved him for free. Treat it like a baby. The dragon has reversed scales, and if you touch it, you will die. Augustus felt a flame burning in his body, and an emotion called killing intent could no longer be suppressed. Little handsome guy, don't lower your head. Come here and mom will pamper you well. Augustus gave up. He gave up his rationality. He was going to kill someone now. The torrential magic power gushed out from his body. A powerful coercion descended on the alley. Augustus raised his head. The left eye turned golden yellow, and the magic power continued to flow in the eyes, like molten gold, with mandala patterns looming at the bottom. The two people on the opposite side were almost unsteady now. They looked at Augustus, saw that weird golden pupil, and felt that they were not facing a human being, but an ancient dragon. Hermione was also suppressed by this magic power, squatting in a corner with difficulty breathing, her face pale. Be careful, this little thing is not easy. The male wizard said in a cold sweat. Come on, strike first. The witch said fiercely. Avada Kedavra, Avada Kedavra. Two green rays shot out from their wands, and flew straight towards Augustus. Augustus saw the death curse coming, took out his red crystal wand, and a flying curse pulled a stone slab in front of him. The stone was smashed to pieces, blocking the death curse. Augustus saw that these two people came up to be Avada Kedavra, and they should not be ordinary dark wizards, so there is no need to hold back. Protego armor protection. Augustus first cast an iron armor curse on himself, and backhanded a petrificus totalus all petrified. Seeing the spell coming, the two quickly dodged to both sides, leaving Hermione's surroundings. This is what Augustus wanted. Augustus said Hermione flew, and Hermione seemed to be dragged by something, and rushed like Augustus. Augustus hugged Hermione, looked at her and asked softly, are you okay? Hermione opened her eyes. She felt that she was going to die. First, she was kidnapped by a dark wizard, and then a boy appeared to save her, but the two dark wizards didn't know what they said. Suddenly, the boy gave out a very terrifying breath, and finally the boy pointed his wand at himself, and flew towards him inexplicably. It was so exciting. Augustus looked at the girl in his arms. She looked at him with her eyes open, and there was no response when she asked her, so he asked softly again, are you alright, miss? Only then did Hermione come to her senses, and said with a flushed face, I'm fine, thank you for saving me. It's too early to say thank you now. Augustus looked at the black wizard in front of him and said slowly, take care of these two bugs first. Boy, don't be too arrogant. You won't be our opponent. The two said coldly. Noisy. Augustus said, raising the red crystal wand in his hand above his head, and then whispered to Hermione in his arms, close your eyes. The magic flame is soaring. Augustus chanted the spell, and a huge green flame appeared above Augustus' head. This is a new magic created by Augustus. The two of them used Avada Kedavra to attack him just now. His black magic talent should be as high as 9 points. Avada Kedavra is combined with the only 5th level magic Flame Blazing. Created this large scale killing spell. Each strand of green flame has the instant death effect of the death curse. When the two black wizards saw the flames, they felt that something was wrong and planned to act first. Augustus didn't give them a chance. Burn them to death. The green flame turned into a huge flaming python and flew towards the two of them. The two hurriedly cast spells. Avada Kedavra, accept your weapon. All petrified, fainted. The spell hit the flame python like raindrops. But the flame python didn't respond at all. It opened its huge snake mouth and swallowed the two of them in one gulp. The two of them were burned to death without even uttering a scream. Every trace of soul was burnt clean. You can open your eyes, Augustus said softly to the girl in his arms. Hermione opened her eyes and saw that there was no one in the alley, not even a trace. Hermione looked at the young man and found that he was really good looking, with sharp-edged face and exquisite facial features, just like a work of art created by Archimedes and Leonardo da Vinci, and the pair of heterochromatic pupils. One was like a summer day in the Maldives. The sea water is as clear, and one is as majestic as an emperor. Have you seen enough? A male voice came, and Hermione realized that she had been staring at the other person, and she had been hugged by him since just now. Hermione felt her face was about to burn. Probably steam was about to come out from the top of his head, and he quickly covered his cheeks with his hands. */ Chapter 12 The Promise of Friends. Augustus looked at the girl in his arms. She was still very cute, with delicate features and fair skin. Her face was flushed with embarrassment. Her eyelashes were still full of tears from crying. She looked very charming. Emma will always drop God. Augustus held Hermione with one hand, like holding a kitten. The girl's hair was just at the tip of her nose. Augustus moved her nose, and there was a faint scent of lavender. Hermione blushed even more when she saw Augustus' actions, and Hermione took a deep breath and said softly, "Can you put it down?" Augustus bent down and put Hermione down slowly, as gently as if he were treating a kitten. After standing still, Hermione tidied up her hair and clothes, touched her face with her hands, and turned to Augustus and said sincerely, "Thank you for saving me, Senior. My name is Hermione Granger. Senior, it seems that my height is to blame. After all, I'm a head taller than Hermione, almost 1.6 meters. Even if foreign children develop early, I still don't look like a 11-year-old child." Auguste was thinking. "I'm not a senior. My name is Augustus Dumbledore, and I'm a freshman at Hogwarts this year." Augustus said, "Dumbledore, is that Albus Dumbledore's Dumbledore? What is your relationship with Principal Dumbledore?" Hermione said in surprise, "He's my grandfather. How did you get brought here?" Augustus said as soon as the conversation started. Hermione seemed less cramped, and instead kept talking to Augustus like a cannonball. The cause of the incident was that Hermione had no friends in the Muggle world. Ever since she saw the magic world, Hermione couldn't suppress her desire for magic, so she ran away from home secretly today and was targeted by a dark wizard. The other party took advantage of Hermione's sympathy to trick her here, and Augustus knew everything about it. "You are Dumbledore's grandson. No wonder your magic is so powerful. I couldn't keep up with the progress when I went to the magic school. I memorized all the books from the first grade." Hermione said, "Memorizing textbooks? Is this a student bully? Thinking about my previous life, I can kill myself with one chapter of my teacher's list. I can't afford it. I can't afford it." Augustus thought silently, seeing that he didn't respond. Hermione wanted to say something, but there was a sound in her stomach at this moment. When Augustus heard this, he looked at Hermione, but Hermione stopped talking at this moment, covered her stomach, and stood there with her face flushed. "Let me take you to eat something." Augustus smiled and said. Hermione nodded silently and followed Augustus silently, and Augustus returned along the original path marked by the spell cast just now. Augustus took Hermione to the Honeydukes dessert shop for dessert, and then took Hermione to go shopping in Diagon Alley. Sure enough, shopping with beauties was more interesting than shopping with old men. After shopping for more than an hour, Augustus couldn't move anymore. Sure enough, the physical strength of girls shopping is unlimited. Augustus begged Hermione for mercy. "I really can't walk anymore. It's getting late. I'll take you home." Hermione looked at Augustus's embarrassed look, stuck out her tongue, and said, "Okay." Augustus sent Hermione back to his home in London. It was almost dark. Hermione looked at the sky and said sincerely, "Thank you, Augustus, thank you very much indeed." Augustus waved his hand casually and said, "Don't be so polite, Hermione, we are classmates and friends." "Are we friends?" Hermione said in surprise. Augustus nodded seriously. Hermione skipped into the house, looking extremely happy. "Although today is very dangerous, I made my first friend." Hermione thought happily, looking at the cheerful girl in front of him. Augustus thought silently, "The joy of a child is so simple, and I haven't experienced such a simple joy for a long time. Maybe a time travel is really a new life. Don't forget our agreement." Hermione opened the door ajar, showing her lovely head, and said shyly, "No, I promise you, my friend." Augustus replied with a smile. After speaking, Augustus walked to a place where no one was around, summoned Heir, and then used Heir to apparate and return to Ollivander's wand shop. Dumbledore was very happy to see Augustus, and said with a smile, "It's nice to be young, to get sweet love." After listening to Augustus, there was a black line. "Nama fell in love at the age of 11 this time, and she is old. But your approach is too extreme, Augustus. Killing people will lead to splitting of the soul," Dumbledore said seriously. Augustus heard the words, stared seriously at Dumbledore's eyes, and said calmly, "As long as anyone touches my bottom line, I will definitely make him pay the price. Anyone. But you can rest assured that I will not kill people at will. I'm not a person like Voldemort. I just want to protect what I care about, whether it's what you lost or what you have now." Dumbledore looked at Augustus and didn't say anything more, but took out a ticket from his pocket, which said platform 9 3/4. Every little wizard has to take the Hogwarts special train to Hogwarts. After all, you have an agreement with that little girl, right? Dumbledore smiled and said. After handing over the ticket to Augustus, Dumbledore turned around and was about to leave. Looking at the old figure, Augustus still couldn't bear it. After all, he was also an old man longing for family affection. "Why don't you give me a hug? After all, you are my grandfather now," Augustus said slowly. Dumbledore turned around and embraced Augustus tightly. Augustus felt Dumbledore's arms trembling slightly, and after thinking about it, he increased the intensity of the embrace. After a while, the two slowly separated. Dumbledore wiped his eyes, then said to Augustus with a smile, "I've reserved a room for you at the Leaky Cauldron. You can go to Old Tom directly after you go. I have prepared a surprise for you in the room. Forgive the old man's forgetfulness. I'm not going to tell me if Leodang and I don't hug each other." Augustus thought silently. After saying goodbye to Dumbledore, Augustus came to the Leaky Cauldron, exchanged greetings with Old Tom, took the key and went upstairs. Opening the door, there was a standard single-person suite inside. In addition to Augustus' luggage, there was also a suitcase on the floor. It seemed that this was the surprise that Dumbledore said. Augustus quickly walked to the suitcase, reached out and opened the suitcase, which was empty, and a long staircase led to the inside of the suitcase. Chapter 13 Summary of Harvest and Meeting Harry for the first time. Along the stairs, Augustus slowly climbed in. Inside the box was a huge room that looked like an old garage. This is his secret base in the United States, Augustus thought excitedly. He only talked to the old man at noon, and he will get it done in the afternoon. It's amazing. It's worthy of being the ceiling figure in this world. Augustus sighed unconsciously while looking around. After looking around, Augustus walked directly towards the back room. When he came to the room, Augustus hurriedly opened a hidden compartment and saw a bunch of green franklins inside. Seeing that Leodang was not greedy for his own money, Augustus heaved a sigh of relief, went to the workbench in the room, and pressed a button under the table. The wall behind the workbench is slowly separated to the two sides. There are various guns hanging on the back of the wall, from AK, M4, to M1911 and even RPG. After all, it is in the United States. Augustus looked at his treasures, and thought that, when he was fighting a wizard in the future, he would suddenly take out an axe to teach the other party what it was called. The age of adults has changed. Turning around, the space magic here in Augustus is very stable, and I cast a few spells on it, but there is no response. Seeing that you can practice magic here, Augustus thought. After going to Old Tom to call for dinner and hanging a do not disturb sign on the door, Augustus came into the box and woke up the system in his mind. Little devil, receive the reward. The reward has been issued. Please extract it by the host. The host has completed the character sign-in task, obtained the character characteristics, and the physique of the master. The learning ability has been greatly improved, and it can be called a human flesh scanner. This reward is fine. My buddy will be a top student in this life. By the way, open the system store. Augustus said, looking at the store in front of him. There are quite a lot of items in it, but most of them are just some potions and some magic items. Augustus frowned and said to the system, "Why are there only these things? Aren't other people's systems all the same heaven level exercises, magic elixirs? I'm a pile of junk. You are amazing, you are noble, and now you despise me, saying that this system is incomplete. Otherwise I would find a host like you," said the system. "Is there any other way? I really don't like these things." Augustus says you can draw a lottery, 100 magic points once, 30 guaranteed withdrawals. The system said lucky draw, 30 consecutive draws directly. Augustus didn't bother to talk nonsense and gave a stud. "The lottery draw is complete. Please check the host." Looking at the ball of light in front of him, 1 gold, 1 purple, 28 white. Seeing Augustus's eyelids twitch. Isn't he already a European? Why is he still so wrong? Open the light ball in front of you. Golden ball, ring of the god of law, a powerful magic ring that can store magic power, unlimited. Purple ball, book of element. When you are proficient in one element, you can learn element from other worlds on it. Magic. After reading these two, Augustus nodded, then took a deep breath and opened the 28 white balls. It turned out to be no surprise, except for a few gold galleons. Everything else was rubbish. What kind of stockings, broken golden snitches, and the shorts of the Black Wizard were outrageous. There are still a few more days before the start of school. In the past few days, Augustus has been delving into the Ring of the God of Law in the Book of Element, and has read the advanced edition of elementary spells several times. Time is like water, passing by in an instant. It's almost here. September 9th. Augustus stood there between platforms and at King Station in London. Today he was wearing a standard British attire, shirt, bow tie, waistcoat and trousers, and a long windbreaker on the outside. Looks very handsome. "Augustus, is that you?" A female voice came. Augustus turned his head to look, and Hermione stood there prettily. Today, Hermione dressed up carefully, wearing a khaki dress with white car socks, looking very youthful and cute. "Hermione, you look beautiful today." Augustus smiled and said, hearing this, Hermione blushed slightly and said reservedly, "Thank you. You are also very handsome today. Let's get in the car first." After speaking, Hermione blushed, took Augustus' arm, and prepared to walk through the wall in front of her. "Okay, here you are, kid. Platform. Your platform should be between these two platforms, but it looks like it hasn't been built yet." At this moment, a middle-aged fat man pushing a trolley stopped just behind the two of them. He puffed out his stomach, sneered maliciously, and the fat on his body trembled accordingly. The tall, thin woman who was traveling with her, and the obese boy beside her also laughed, and said gloatingly, "So, dear Harry, I wish you a happy start to school." The middle-aged fat man let go of the trolley, took his wife and children, and left without hesitation, leaving only a thin boy with glasses standing there helpless. After watching this premeditated prank, Augustus still felt a tinge of sympathy in his heart when he looked at the skinny boy in front of him. It was a miracle that Harry didn't grow crooked in such a family environment. "Do you need help?" Just when Harry was at a loss, a handsome boy came to him and asked. Harry looked up suddenly, and a well-dressed and handsome boy was looking at him calmly. "What is it, sir?" Harry whispered inwardly. "You are looking for platform 9 3/4. Don't be nervous. We are classmates. If you don't know, come with us," Augustus said with a smile. After speaking, Augustus took Hermione's hand and walked directly between the 9th platform and the 10th platform. "Follow us," said Augustus, seeing that the two people in front of him had walked 4 or 5 meters away. Harry suddenly came back to his senses and chased after them, pushing the trolley full of luggage. Before he knew it, Harry was walking through the wall with the two of them. Platform 9 3/4. Harry said in surprise. Thank you. Harry quickly thanked Augustus. You're welcome. Come with us, if you don't suggest it. Augustus said, took out his elder wand, and waved it lightly. The luggage on Harry and Hermione's trolley began to shrink rapidly, and then automatically flew to two places man's hand. It's amazing, Harry said unconsciously, looking at the luggage in his hand. Hermione remained calm, looking at the energetic little wizards in front of him. They shuttled back and forth in each compartment, like bees drilling into a honeycomb. Augustus sighed, and led the two of them into the crowd, but was still caught by the fierce crowd coerce. By the time they found an empty car, everyone's clothes were crumpled to napkins. Chapter 14. On the train. Reparo back to normal. Augustus waved his elder wand, and uttered a little spell, and the clothes of the three returned to their best condition. Even Harry's crumpled old clothes became as if they had just been ironed. Same thing. Then Augustus continued to wave his wand gracefully, and the luggage of Harry and Hermione quickly returned to normal size, and then flew to the train luggage rack in an orderly manner. After doing this, Augustus sat down on the seat by the window, as if he was relieved. Amazing, really, said Harry excitedly. Augustus waved his hand and said indifferently, it's nothing special, you will learn it when you go to Hogwarts. After speaking, Augustus pointed to himself, and then said, my name is Augustus Dumbledore, and this is Miss Hermione Granger. My name is Harry Potter. Thank you for today, Harry replied hastily. Harry Potter, the boy who lived, you are famous, you can call me Augustus, Mr. Potter. Augustus said. Harry waved his hand quickly and said shyly, just call me Harry, Mr. Augustus. Hermione looked at Harry with a displeased face. Originally, she had made an appointment with Augustus today to go to Hogwarts together, and she had a lot of questions to ask him, but now there was an extra Harry. Harry was a little uncomfortable being looked at by Hermione, and awkwardly touched his face with his hands. Just then, a boy opened the compartment door. May I sit here, please? If not. The boy had freckles all over his face, and had fiery red hair. He was dragging a big suitcase behind him. When the boy saw three people in the carriage, he stopped talking halfway through. Harry just wanted to agree directly, but after thinking about it, he felt that it was wrong, so he could only look at Augustus silently. With a wave of his hand, the boy's suitcase flew directly onto the luggage rack. Come in, Augustus said calmly. This is really clever. My name is Ron Weasley, Ron said. Several people said their names respectively. Ron was also surprised when he heard Augustus's surname, but he quickly became one with Harry. Looking at the two boys chatting enthusiastically in front of her, Hermione felt that today was really unlucky, so she had to look down at her newly bought shoes. Seeing Hermione's disappointed expression, Augustus thought for a while, and took out a book from his storage bag, which was the basic magic cracked edition he had obtained from the system. Augustus handed the book to Hermione and said softly, if you're bored, just read a book. It was given to me by my grandfather. There are many master's comments on it. Hearing this, Hermione immediately took the book into her hand, and flipped it over impatiently. She was very happy to see the annotations inside, and then she thought about it, and said to Augustus, can I really see it? After all, Headmaster Dumbledore gave it to you. Of course, we are friends. Besides, I'm the only young man in the Dumbledore family. From now on, everything owned by Principal Dumbledore will be mine. A book is nothing, Augustus said indifferently. Far away in the Hogwarts principal's office, Dumbledore shuddered. It seemed that he was getting old, Dumbledore thought to himself. Hermione laughed happily when she heard this, and then said thank you with a smile, and couldn't wait to read the book. Looking at the girl swimming in the ocean of knowledge in front of him, Augustus smiled, and looked at his own reflection in the car window, that dazzling golden pupil, still emitting a strange and majestic breath. Looking at his own eyes, Augustus couldn't help but recall what happened a few days ago. In my box space, I opened the book of element I got from the system. Logically speaking, I could only see the fire element magic, but suddenly a hot feeling came from my blood, and my golden pupil self it lit up, and the last three elemental magics in the book also slowly appeared. For the sake of safety, Augustus did not rashly learn other elemental magic, but only started to learn fire elemental magic. Nothing happened when he learned elementary fire elemental magic, but when Augustus learned advanced fire elemental magic, Augustus saw terrible visions. In the scorching flames, the city was crying, scorched human figures were running in the fire, the whole city was burning, crowds of people knelt down on the ground, kowtowing to themselves, constantly begging themselves for forgiveness. Augustus was taken aback by the hellish scene at the time, but what was strange was that he was in an illusion, and quickly calmed down, looking at the kneeling crowd, without a trace of pity. After an unknown period of time, Augustus woke up from the illusion, without a trace of fear or terror, only felt the burning of his left eye. Looking in the mirror, only the golden pupil was still bright. Since then, Augustus has temporarily shelved the study of fire elemental magic, and turned to learning elementary magic of other element, and studying the usage of the ring of the god of law. Augustus found that, even if his magic power was exhausted, he would fully recover the next day, which meant that he could store a complete amount of his magic power in the ring of the god of law every day. Moreover, the ring of the god of law can also have 6 gears, to prevent the body from extracting too much magic power at one time. The train continued to move, and suddenly encountered a sharp turn, and the strong sense of bumps pulled Augustus back from his memories. Augustus rubbed his face, looked into the carriage. Hermione was gone. Ron and Harry bought a table of snacks and were eating, and they kept communicating. "Here's a card from Headmaster Dumbledore," said Harry. "Yes, I already have more than 600 cards. Among them, Dumbledore has the most cards, about 6 or 7, Ron said. Harry turned the card over, saw the text behind it, and read it word by word. Dumbledore's main achievement is defeating the Dark Wizard Grindelwald in 1945, discovering 12 uses of dragon's blood, and making great achievements in alchemy with Nicholas. Who is Nicole Flamel, and what does alchemy mean? Harry asked. Augustus said lightly, Nicole Flamel is a Frenchman. He is the only person in history who has practiced the Philosopher's Stone. Alchemy is the chemistry of magic. He pursues immortality and the touch of stone to gold. But in history, only one made it. Harry scratched his head after listening. Obviously he still can't understand the meaning of Augustus' words. Augustus looked at him, didn't care, and asked, "Where's Hermione?" Some quarreling noises outside interrupted Harry's answer. Augustus got up and wanted to see what happened, but when he got to the door of the carriage, he heard a curse. "Go away, you vile mudblood." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Conflict. Augustus followed the source of the sound and came to an aisle near the front of the car. An ugly girl who looked like a poodle yelled at Hermione. "We didn't see any toads, and Hogwarts shouldn't have recruited you muggles. You mudbloods will only pollute the environment here." The ugly girl kept spraying venom like a poisonous snake, and there were 3 boys beside her. There are 2 tall ones. The tall one is indescribable and very obese. The boy in the middle has a handsome face, but is a little pale, and his platinum hair is very eye-catching. Hermione blushed from being scolded by the poodle girl. She used her body to protect the boy behind her and stared at the girl in front of her as long as she had. Augustus walked to Hermione's side, patted her on the shoulder, saw her turn her head, and asked softly, "Did something happen?" Hearing this, Hermione recounted what happened to Augustus. It turned out that when Augustus was thinking about the past, Neville found his own compartment because he lost his toad. Hermione saw that Augustus was thinking about something, so she didn't bother him, and she took Neville to look for it on the train. "Get up, come here, see that the 4 people have not started to ask." The other party started to taunt Neville frantically. Hermione was so angry that he quarreled with the other party. "Is that what she said?" Augustus said lightly. "So what? You are brought together with this mudblood. It seems that you are not pure blood. What can you do?" Hearing this, the poodle girl mocked. "Levi corpus fuchsia." Augustus was too lazy to communicate with these crazy guys. Throw out a spell directly. The poodle girl who was hit by the curse was hung upside down with her feet upside down. She screamed in fright and desperately covered her skirt with her hands to prevent her nakedness from being exposed. The 3 boys next to him were also taken aback and stared at Augustus in disbelief. The handsome boy in the lead came over and said to Augustus, "Who are you? Put Pansy down quickly, you will regret it when our prefect comes. It's a threat, that is nothing new, you just talk, go, I'm standing here, you go and call someone, I'll wait," Augustus said slowly with a smile. "You wait." The handsome boy left behind a sentence and walked back with his 2 attendants. The girl who was hung was still yelling and Augustus was directly a throat curse. "It's going to be okay, we won't be expelled like this," Hermione said worriedly, holding Augustus' hand. "Expulsion, don't forget that my surname is Dumbledore. If the old man dares to expel me, I will burn his beard." Augustus patted Hermione's head and said with a smile. Hermione knocked off the salty pig's hand on her head with her hand, glared at Augustus, pointed at Neville beside her and said, "You are so powerful, help Neville get his toad back." Neville blushed and looked at Augustus with teary eyes. Augustus, seeing goosebumps all over his body, asked Neville, "What's your toad's name?" "Life," Neville replied quickly. "Life is flying." Augustus picked up the elderberry wand and waved it. From the back compartment, a green toad flew to Neville's hand. Seeing the toad in his hand, Neville burst into tears and quickly said thank you to Augustus. Just as Augustus was about to say something to Neville, he heard an arrogant voice. "You still have the mood to talk, put Pansy down quickly, or you will look good." The blonde boy spoke excitedly, followed by 4 or 5 people wearing Slytherin green wizard robes, who should be senior students. A tall boy at the head came out and said viciously to Augustus and the others, "Put him down, and then give it to Master Malfoy and Miss Parkinson. Just kneel down and apologize, otherwise." Augustus waved his hand, interrupted the other party's words, and then spoke slowly. "I just wanted to teach you a lesson, but I never thought that you would be so stupid that you would pay for what you did to my friend and what you just said. Fire prison. This is an elemental magic. The ancient Flame Kings used this magic to punish those disrespectful people. The magic quickly formed a standing cage of flames, requiring people to raise their heads, stand on tiptoes, and keep standing in this form, or they would be burned by the flames. For a while, those senior students were crying and howling after being burned by the flames. After a while, they were covered with cuts and bruises. Fortunately, one of them was clever enough to discover a technique, and they followed suit, so that they would not be burned to death by the flames. Malfoy, seeing the tragic situation of those seniors, was frightened out of his wits long ago, and fell to the side with a pale face. Seeing Augustus walking towards him, Malfoy said tremblingly, "Don't come here, my father is the school manager, he will fire you. Your father is the school trustee, my father is still the headmaster." Augustus thought, came to Malfoy's side, patted his face and said, "I don't care who your father is, he is your father's master. Voldemort is here, and you have to apologize to Hermione today." "It doesn't matter who comes," I said. Malfoy looked at Augustus in astonishment, and said in fear, "How dare you mention that name? You are finished. The Dark Lord will not let you go, and you want me to apologize to that mudblood? Don't even think about it." Hearing this, Augustus' complexion turned cold, and he said in an extremely cold tone, "Voldemort, with that 2-hole socket, it doesn't matter if he dies or he lives. I'll let him burn in my fire, and let him tell who is the strongest wizard. You wastes will only follow the waste. The owner of a group of waste, at best, is a big waste. You have never seen the real power." Augustus got up, opened the car window, pointed out the window with his wand, and said slowly, "Let you see what real magic is. Vulcan clears the way." Augustus read. A huge flame appeared above the train, and the updraft generated sucked all the small items and snacks out of the window. Those who didn't close the windows had to grab them, hold heavy objects around to prevent being sucked out of the car. "Stop, Augustus, innocent people will be hurt," Hermione shouted anxiously. Augustus heard the words, and waved his magic wand. The flames spread from the sky above the train to both sides of the train. Everyone saw it through the windows, the flames like a disaster. After a while, the flames slowly dissipated. Looking at the white-haired boy in front of him, Augustus said slowly, "You have something to say now." Chapter 16. Hearing Augustus' words, Malfoy stood up with difficulty, almost falling down several times on the way. After standing still, Malfoy walked up to Hermione with a pale face, directly bowed at 90 degrees, and said in a trembling tone, "I'm sorry, honorable lady, you are noble. It's my humble eyes that didn't notice. Please forgive the humble me." If his father, Lucius Malfoy, saw this scene, he would definitely think that his son was under the Imperious curse, but Malfoy was really frightened today. The monstrous flames made him see something for the first time: its power. In the face of terrifying power, aristocratic status is nothing. Looking at the bowing and trembling boy in front of her, Hermione was also stunned for a moment. Seeing Hermione froze, Augustus said jokingly, "It seems that this young lady has no intention of forgiving you. Don't be so arrogant in your actions in the future, and be more careful in your next life." After speaking, Augustus raised his elder wand and pointed it at Malfoy, who immediately collapsed on the ground and began to foam at the mouth. Seeing that Malfoy had fainted, Hermione hurried up to check and was relieved when he found that he was fine, and got up and glared at Augustus. When Augustus saw it, he felt uncomfortable. "And you still stared at me when I helped you out, really?" So she just turned around and left. Hermione also realized that she was wrong and quickly grabbed Augustus, but she couldn't say a word when she looked at Augustus' face. Looking at the embarrassed girl in front of him, Augustus sighed, patted Hermione's head, then took Hermione's hand and prepared to leave. After walking for a few steps, I suddenly felt someone pulling my hand. Looking back, I saw Hermione pointing, and Pansy and the senior students asked, "What will they do?" Augustus thought for a while, put Pansy down, and said to her, "You help Malfoy into the carriage first. As for your mouth, those trash behind you will break the spell when I get out of the carriage." After speaking, he took Hermione's hand and walked towards his own compartment. The crowd of onlookers immediately separated to make way for her to move forward. After a while, Augustus and Hermione returned to the carriage, and Neville followed all the way, standing at the door and not coming in. "Come in, we can make friends," Augustus said. Neville just entered the box, saw Neville, Ron, and Harry received him warmly, shared snacks with him, and discussed the magic with him just now. When they learned that the magic just released was released by Augustus, Ron and Harry worshipped Augustus to the extreme. "If you have anything to say, just say it, Hermione." Looking at Hermione with her head down, Augustus said slowly, "Actually, I think you've gone too far, Augustus. They are not guilty of that. Your methods are too extreme." Ron quickly objected after hearing this. "How can you do this? Augustus is helping you. You don't even know how serious what they said." Ron quickly popularized Hermione's common sense about the wizarding world and the meaning of mudblood. After hearing this, Hermione blushed, not knowing whether she was angry or ashamed. "Sorry, Augustus, I didn't know at first. I didn't know they were that much," Hermione said, blushing. Carrot, is an apology useful? Why do you need the police if an apology is useful? "I'm angry," Augustus said proudly. "I'm sorry. Are you sorry? What can you do to forgive me?" Hermione begged. She didn't want to lose Augustus as a friend. Augustus rolled his eyes and said slowly, "Well, I'll forgive you this time, but you have to promise me 2 conditions." "What conditions?" said Hermione. "No matter what I do in the future, you have to trust me, okay?" Augustus said. Hermione thought for a while and nodded. "I promise you." "Is there another one?" "There's one more thing I haven't thought about. I'll tell you when the time comes. Will you agree?" Augustus said. Hermione nodded, and after clearing up the misunderstanding, the people in the carriage began to chat. Ron and Harry have been recommending Quidditch to Augustus, and Hermione has been asking Augustus about Hogwarts heresy thing. After 4 or 5 hours, after the sky completely darkened, the train finally arrived at Hogwarts. After getting out of the car, Harry and Ron shivered from the cold night. Seeing Augustus and Hermione beside them, they couldn't help asking, "Aren't you cold?" "It's actually just a simple warming spell," Augustus replied with a smile, and then waved the elderberry wand in his hand. Good relationship. At this time Pansy helped Malfoy come over. Malfoy said thank you, and then pointed with his finger. Pansy still had a train in his mouth. Augustus waved his elder wand, dispelled the magic of several people, and then said lightly, If you don't come to provoke me in the future, I will not retaliate against you. If you are obedient, I don't suggest teaching you some magic. Give it a sweet date. After all, although the pureblood family is trash, it is still very influential in the magic world, and it still needs to be wooed. Malfoy breathed a sigh of relief, straightened himself up, and said, "Thank you very much. Let me introduce you formally, Draco Malfoy, Augustus Dumbledore." Augustus replied casually. Malfoy heard Dumbledore, and wanted to say something, but a loud noise interrupted what he wanted to say. "First graders, come here, assemble quickly." A tall man with a shaggy beard held a lantern, and kept shaking it, trying to attract everyone's attention. "I'm here to pick you up. Is there anyone else who hasn't gotten off? No, very good. Come with me." The first year rookers followed Hagrid, and walked out of the dark and cold platform. There were only some strange shaped old trees outside, and the surroundings were quiet and frightening. "Pay attention to your feet. It's not easy to walk here." Hagrid led the new students to a steep and narrow path. Because there was no light source in the darkness, people slipped and fell all the way. Harry and Ron almost fell and ate shit. Looking around, Augustus drew out his Elder Wand and pointed to the sky. Luminous fluorescent flashes. A huge ball of light was launched into the sky, and the surrounding area was as bright as day. "Excellent spell casting," praised Hagrid, before continuing. "Hang on, we are almost there." As soon as the words fell, the crowd began to stir up, and Hogwarts had arrived. A huge castle stands on the other side of the Black Lake, with towering spires everywhere, and bright windows twinkle in the starry sky. "Hogwarts, I'm back again," Augustus muttered to himself, with some expectation in his eyes. Chapter 17 Flight to Hogwarts. "Okay, after entering the castle, there will be some time to be amazed. Let's go and I will go to the boat." Hagrid led the freshmen out of the path to the lake, pointed to a pair of boats moored by the lake, and said loudly, "No more than 4 people in a boat. Hurry up, little ones." Looking at the boat in front of him, Augustus felt speechless for a while. It was too embarrassing. "This is the best magic school in the world," Augustus said to the 4 people next to him. "Do you want to get to Hogwarts in a special way?" Ron and Harry nodded. Neville didn't speak, but he also showed yearning looks. Only Hermione frowned and spoke slowly. "We should observe discipline, and not trouble the professors, Augustus." Augustus curled his lips in disdain, and did not speak. "Why are you still staying there? Get on the boat quickly," Hagrid shouted at the top of his voice. Augustus didn't bother to say anything, took out his Elder Wand, and said, "The water spirit appears." Immediately, 4 transparent horses made of water slowly walked out of the Black Lake, and came in front of the 5 people. Looking at the magical creation in front of them, the eyes of the 3 of Harry were shining. Seeing Hermione still hesitated, Augustus got on his horse. Waving the Elder Wand in their hands, the 3 of Harry flew to the other 3 horses. When they arrived at the horses, Harry and the others excitedly stroked the horses, very excited. "Are you really not going to come up?" Augustus said, and passed his hand to Hermione. Hermione looked at Augustus, and grabbed Augustus's hand with gritted teeth. "Augustus, get her on the horse." "Let's go," Augustus shouted. The 4 horses began to gallop across the Black Lake, the wind blowing head on, blowing the hair of the 5 of them. Harry and Ron shouted excitedly. Neville grabbed the water elf horse tightly, but also showed an excited expression on the face. Hermione firmly grasped Augustus' waist, pressed her body tightly against Augustus's back, felt the softness on his back. Augustus smirked, waved his Elder Wand, and said loudly, "Hold on, we are about to take off." Immediately, the water elf horse grew another pair of wings, then jumped up, and began to fly towards Hogwarts at a high speed. Soon, everyone had flown over the Black Lake, and arrived at the sky above Hogwarts Castle. However, they didn't stop, and started flying around the entire Hogwarts Castle. At this moment, Hermione stopped tensing herself, stretched out her hands, and started laughing loudly. Then, the 5 continued to ride, and the water elf Pegasus flew towards the Black Lake. At this time, the first-year freshmen were just crossing half of the Black Lake in a small boat. "Hi guys." With a wave of his Elder Wand, Augustus landed the water elves and Pegasus beside the nascent ship, and waved to them. "It's the man on the train who used magic. Oh, he's really amazing. He's so handsome. I feel like I'm falling in love with him. I want to fly with him." The little wizards on the boat became restless, shouting non-stop. The boys worshipped and envied, and the girls worshipped and admired. "You can't do this. You should follow the tradition, and it's very dangerous," Hagrid said with a straight face. He had welcomed Hogwarts freshmen for so many years, and had never seen such a little wizard, but seeing Harry's excited expression, he didn't want to speak too seriously. "Don't talk about those clichés. Do you want to experience the feeling of flying? Wait a minute, I will take you to fly right away. After all, the matter has already been done, so we can't just be the 5 of us to participate. Then we will probably be punished. The best way now is to pull the rest of the people into trouble. After all, the law does not blame the public. Everyone just does it. Everyone didn't do it." Thinking of Augustus waving his elder wand, a huge water elf dragon appeared in front of the crowd, and the water elf dragon roared to the sky, making a loud noise. Augustus waved his hand, and the little wizards flew onto the back of the water elf dragon one by one, boys in a row and girls in a row. "Do you want to fly too?" Augustus said to Hagrid. Looking at the dragon in front of him, Hagrid showed excitement, but he hesitated when he thought of his responsibility, but Hagrid nodded after a few seconds. After all, whoever came out of Gryffindor is not a reckless man. Augustus put Hagrid behind the little wizard, so as not to block everyone's view, but also to protect everyone's safety, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. "Let's go," Augustus yelled, and the giant dragon let out a roar that shook the sky, leading everyone to fly towards Hogwarts Castle. Watching the scenery below fly by quickly, and the wind blowing in front of them, the little wizards cheered loudly, and Hagrid even waved his arms up and down, looking very excited. The auditorium in Hogwarts Castle was brightly lit, and students from the 4 colleges sat around 4 long tables, chattering and discussing. Of course, most of them were discussing Augustus. After all, the shock that the magic brought to them too big. Which academy do you think he will come to, and what is his personality? He must be a pureblood, otherwise he wouldn't be so powerful. Not necessarily. Look at how nice he is to that mudblood girl. Shh, how dare you say this word? Don't hurt me, if you want to die. On the long Slytherin table, several senior students kept discussing, and looked at the mummy-like prefects wrapped in gauze from time to time. The Hogwarts professors on the stage saw the chaotic scene below. A tall witch in emerald green stood up. Just as she was about to speak, she heard a huge dragon roar from outside. The auditorium quickly became chaotic, and Dumbledore put his wand against his neck and roared, "Silent, students stay where they are, professors follow." After speaking, he led the professors out of the auditorium, and came to the square. Dumbledore and the others looked up, and saw a huge flying dragon hovering over the castle. What kind of dragon is this? How could a dragon break into Hogwarts? It's too dangerous, the tall witch said eagerly. As he said that, he was about to take out his wand, to drive away the flying dragon. Dumbledore smiled, waved his hand and said, "It's okay, it's not a real flying dragon, it's a superb transfiguration technique. Our little wizards and children are going up, don't hurt them, but they should come down too." With that said, he took out his wand, and fired it into the sky, a red flare. Augustus saw the rising red light bullet, and saw a group of people on the ground, and said to Hermione with a smile, "It seems that someone has come to pick us up." As he spoke, he commanded with his magic wand. The dragon and the 4 celestial horses were ready to land. Chapter 19 Slytherin. Professor McGonagall brought the first-year freshmen to the front of the professor's chair, and made them face all the senior students, while the professors watched them from behind. Then Professor McGonagall put a full-legged board in front of the first-year freshmen, and put an old, patched, and dirty wizard hat on the four-legged board. Soon, the broken hat began to twist, a wide slit opened, like a mouth, and sang an ugly song. That was more than 1,000 years ago. I had just been woven into shape, and there were 4 famous wizards, whose names are still alive today. Brave Gryffindor from the Fiery Valley, Beautiful Ravenclaw from the Towering Spire, Kind Hufflepuff from the Open Valley, Shrewd Slytherin from the Quagmire. They share a dream, a wish, and a bold plan, to cultivate young wizards into talents, and Hogwarts School was founded in this way. Each of these 4 great wizards founded his own house, with different ideas about the talents they valued and the students they taught. Gryffindor believes that the bravest should receive the highest reward. Ravenclaw believes that the most intelligent people are always the most promising. Hufflepuff feels that the most diligent and hard-working people are the most qualified to enter the academy, and power-hungry Slytherins love ambitious teenagers most. The four wizards personally selected their favorite students when they were alive, but when they died in Joaquin, how to select the talents among the students, Gryffindor figured out a way. He took me off his head, for the giants have injected ideas into me, and I will choose and evaluate from then on. Well, put me on the head. Well, I have never looked past. I want to take a look at your mind and judge which academy you belong to. Hearing the lyrics of the Sorting Hat verified Augustus' previous conjectures. The fiery valley, the towering spire, the open valley and the wet quagmire, plus the personality of the founders of the four colleges, are basically certain. Gryffindor is fire, Ravenclaw is wind, Hufflepuff is earth, and Slytherin is water. Then the original fragment of magic is likely to be on the relics of the four founders. After firming up his mind, Augustus called the system. Little devil, scan the Sorting Hat. The scan is complete, and the original magic fragment, fire, was found, but it is protected by powerful magic, and cannot be extracted directly. It seems right, the source of magic is inside the Sorting Hat, on the sword of Gryffindor. After that, the fragments of the source of magic will have ideas, Augustus thought happily. At this moment Professor McGonagall came to the side of the four-legged stool, holding a roll of parchment in his hand. Now whoever I call by name, he will put on his hat, sit on the stool, and wait for the sorting. Hannah Abbott. Professor McGonagall called out the first name. A little girl with a rosy complexion and a little freckle stumbled out of the line, walked to the corner stool, picked up the hat, and put it on her head, and sat on the stool herself. After about a few seconds, the hat suddenly shouted, "Hufflepuffs." The students at the table on the right applauded immediately. This table had the largest number of students. Hannah took off her hat, walked to that table very happily, and sat down at the front one. Susan Burnge. Hufflepuffs. The hat shouted again, and it seemed to be quite efficient. Which college did you say I was assigned to? Hermione asked Augustus. It should be Gryffindor, although I think you are more suitable for Ravenclaw. Augustus replied. What are you? Hermione didn't finish her sentence. I heard Professor McGonagall shouting. Hermione Granger. This time the Sorting Hat struggled for several minutes, and finally shouted. Gryffindor. Hermione took off her hat, glanced at Augustus, and went to the Gryffindor table. The sorting continued, and it was almost the same as the movies seen in the previous life. Malfoy went to Slytherin, and Harry, Ron, and Neville went to Gryffindor. When the Sorting Hat sorted Harry into Gryffindor, Gryffindor burst into amazing cheers, and the Weirlight Twins even stood on the table and shouted, "We have Potter! We have Potter!" The people on Slytherin's side are very calm. After all, Harry Potter is no longer attractive to them, and Augustus is the biggest attraction. After all, Slytherin is supremely powerful. At this time, a voice suddenly came from my mind. The host joins that, and the academy can only look for that fragment of the original source of magic. Why? Augustus asked. The items attached to the fragments of the source of magic are too special, protected by the power of rules, and cannot be collected at once. So in order to prevent the system from being exposed, this is the only way to go. Augustus was dumbfounded now. He could have planned it slowly, but now he has to choose by force. Isn't this damn foolish? It seems that Gryffindor can only be chosen now. After all, there is only such a relic that has not been made into a Horcrux by the man with two sockets. Although Augustus is powerful now, he doesn't know anything about the black magic curse in this world. Thinking that Dumbledore was killed by Voldemort's Horcrux, he should not take this risk. After all the first year freshmen were sorted, Professor McGonagall finally called Augustus' name. Augustus Dumbledore. The entire auditorium was deadly silent at first, and then the hustle and bustle resounded through the sky. After all, Dumbledore's surname is still very impactful. His surname is Dumbledore. What is his relationship with Headmaster Dumbledore? It was he on the train who unleashed that terrible flame spell. No wonder he is so powerful. It turns out that he is from the Dumbledore family. He is so handsome. I don't know if Principal Dumbledore was so handsome when he was young. Impossible. Look at Principal Dumbledore's current appearance. He must have looked bad when he was young. The two Ravenclaw girls spoke loudly, and Dumbledore put his wand against his neck and yelled after listening to a black thread. Silence. The scene suddenly fell silent. Dumbledore waved his hand with a smile, signaling to Augustus to continue sorting. Augustus walked to the stool step by step, picked up the sorting hat, and put it on his head, and sat on the stool himself. The Eternal King returns to the world. I respectfully invite the coming of my king. Death is life. Hearing such a nonsensical remark, Augustus also looked dazed. Just as he was about to use the usual means of time travelers to get the sorting hat to sort him into Gryffindor, he heard the hat on his head shout, "Slytherin." Chapter 20. Slytherin. The sorting hat yelled. Hearing this sentence, Augustus was stunned for a moment, and then communicated with the sorting hat friendly in his mind. "Brother Hat, are you there? Please turn on the microphone to communicate. This is not the same as what you said. The steps should not be, you first praise my talent and ability, tell me the college I can go to, then I refuse, and then you insist, and then I refused again, repeated this several times, and finally you were moved by my perseverance, let me go to the academy I want to go to. You are not following the rules." Augustus denounced in his mind the shameless sneak attack of the sorting hat. "Your blood is too noble, the ancient blood. If you are not assigned to Slytherin, the soul of head Salazar Slytherin will not agree." The sorting hat replied. "Bloodline? What bloodline? You might as well make it clearer." Augustus replied, "It seems that this broken hat knows some secrets about his body. Let's see if he can make some words out of it." "Okay, kid, you don't have to talk about me. Go. You will get what you want at Hogwarts," the sorting hat said impatiently. Augustus still wanted to argue. At this moment, Professor McGonagall pushed Augustus's shoulder, motioning him to quickly take off the sorting hat and sit down on the long table in Slytherin. Augustus stood up helplessly, put the sorting hat back on the corner stool, looked at the broken hat in front of him. Augustus was really full of anger, and couldn't let it go so easily. "Dear professors, the sorting hat has served Hogwarts diligently for so many years. How can it not be cleaned in time? You see it is dirty. This is a denial of its hard work, and it is a tribute to Godric Gryffindor disrespect," Augustus said with a sad face. "It seems that we were negligent. I will clean up Mr. Sorting Hat in time. You should go and sit down first, Mr. Dumbledore." Dumbledore looked at Augustus's expression and said lightly, "Don't bother Grandpa. Oh no, it's the principal. Why don't you do such a trivial matter yourself?" Augustus replied to Dumbledore with a smirk on his face. "No one can keep this broken hat today, and it's useless when Jesus comes. I'm telling you." After speaking, Augustus took out his elder wand and said coldly to the sorting hat, "Thank you for your hard work. Please accept the greatest respect from a student." Water cyclone. A small water tornado as tall as a person appeared on the four-corner stool and began to spin rapidly with the sorting hat on. The eyes of the professors on the stage lit up when they saw Augustus's magic, and Professor Flitwick applauded vigorously. A complete cleaning of the elemental elves. Augustus tapped his wand, and immediately two hands formed of water appeared and began to clean the sorting hat thoroughly, rubbing it with hands, brushing it with a brush, and drying it in a whirlwind. Iron it with a flame turned on. Augustus is also like a music conductor, waving his magic wand and directing the element to work. In the end, Augustus waved vigorously, as if he had just directed the last note of movement. The magic was lifted, and the sorting hat slowly fell back onto the four-cornered stool. At this time, the sorting hat has taken on a new look. The dirt accumulated over the years has disappeared, revealing its original color. Even the folds on the hat have been ironed out. With a few patches on the hat, it looks like a modernist fashion sheet. Taste. After finishing these, Augustus bowed to the professor's seat, then turned around and bowed to the students. There was thunderous applause immediately, and everyone was applauding this wonderful magic performance. Professor Flitwick even stood on the table and applauded desperately. Only Professor Quirrell, who was wearing a turban, and Professor Snape, who was oily, looked at Augustus strangely. After enjoying the applause, Augustus said to the sorting hat, "You're welcome, Mr. Hat. You don't have to thank me. This is what I should do." After speaking, Augustus walked towards the long Slytherin table. Seeing Augustus approaching, Draco, who was sitting at the front, immediately gave up his seat, and Augustus was not polite and sat directly at the front seat. Seeing that Augustus was seated, Dumbledore knocked on the silver cup on the table, making a crisp sound. The students in the auditorium fell silent and turned their eyes to listen to the principal's speech. This semester, we have a few new precautions that need to be explained, especially for the first year freshmen. Finally, welcome everyone to Hogwarts, and I will say a few last words, that is, idiot, crying nose, residue, twist. After speaking, he bowed slightly and waved his hand. The banquet officially started. On the long empty table, all kinds of food appeared out of thin air. Augustus was also hungry enough, so he directly picked out a piece of tender and juicy steak on the dinner plate and started to show off. On the long table in Gryffindor, Hermione looked at the delicious food in front of her, but she didn't feel the slightest appetite. Ron, who was next to her, saw Hermione not eating and said suspiciously, "Hermione, why don't you eat it?" Hermione looked at Ron, who was holding a chicken leg in one hand, rolled her cute eyes, and said, "Go eat yours, I don't care about you." Ron was stunned for a moment when he was scolded, and then he ignored Hermione and concentrated on the food in front of him. Women will only affect the speed of my cooking. Looking at Ron, who was cooking crazily in front of her, Hermione shook her head, looked at the long table in Slytherin, saw that Augustus was also concentrating on the steak in front of him, and couldn't help staring at Augustus resentfully. Augustus is concentrating on cooking. He suddenly felt a death stare, and when he looked up, he saw Hermione at the Gryffindor table looking at him resentfully. It seems that this little girl has a lot of resentment for not going to the same academy with her, and it seems that she needs to appease her. Augustus took out his wand, turned a piece of delicate fruit cake on the dining table into a beautiful paper crane, then waved his magic wand. The paper crane immediately seemed to come to life and slowly walked over the Gryffindor table, fly away. Hermione saw 1,000 paper cranes flying towards her slowly. She caught it with her hands and saw a line of words written on the 1,000 paper cranes. "Open it and have a look." Hermione took apart the 1,000 paper crane, which read, "Don't be angry, my beautiful Miss Beaver. I actually want to go to Gryffindor, not for anything else, just because of where you are, and when it's time to meet next time, I will explain it to you personally." Seeing these, Hermione blushed all of a sudden. It was just because of where you were. How could he say such nasty words? Hermione blushed and kept fighting in her mind, and finally she couldn't help but look at the paper again. Chapter 21, Shadow Prefect. There is also a paragraph written on it. This origami crane is transformed from a small cake. Put it on the dinner plate, and it will automatically transform back. Eat some sweets and be happy. After reading this text, Hermione smiled slightly, but instead of putting it back on the dinner plate, she silently put him in her pocket. Then Hermione gave Augustus a glare and began to eat slowly by herself. Seeing Hermione's small movements, Augustus didn't say anything, but silently cast a spell under the dining table, turning the piece of paper into 1,000 paper cranes again. The banquet came to an end in a joyous atmosphere. Dumbledore stood up, waved his hand, and removed the food from the table, and then said loudly, "Let's sing the school song together at the end. You can choose your favorite tone. Get ready." Immediately, ghosts were crying, and wolves were howling in the Hogwarts auditorium. The scene could be called a song of death, and Augustus felt that he had suffered a huge amount of magic damage, so he could only set a shielding spell. The school song part was finally over. In fact, most of the people had a good time. The Gryffindor twins stood on the table and sang loudly. Dumbledore touched the back of his glasses, exclaimed, "This is music," and announced, "Okay kids, the banquet is officially over. Now follow your prefects and go to your college's dormitory to rest." As soon as the words fell, the students of Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff all followed their prefects and left in an orderly manner. Only the Slytherins remained motionless, all looking at Augustus. Augustus was a little scared by them, so he asked Draco, "Why are they all looking at me, and why don't we leave? The other colleges have all left." When Draco saw Augustus questioning him, he was a little nervous at first, but after thinking that Augustus and himself are already classmates in the same academy, he should not do anything to him, so he stood up. Courage said, "Our prefects were all injured by you. Of course they deserved it. They went to Madame Pomfrey's after attending the sorting ceremony and went to receive treatment. We are waiting for someone to take us to Slytherin's dormitory." "Who? Why haven't you come yet? I really don't have any sense of time. What do you think, Draco?" Hearing that, Draco's face turned green. He didn't speak, but looked behind Augustus in horror. Seeing that Draco was silent, Augustus wanted to say something when he heard a cold voice behind him. It seems that Mr. Dumbledore is waiting anxiously. After all, many students were injured just after school started. This kind of thing is still rare, isn't it, Mr. Dumbledore? Seeing the oily man in front of him, Augustus knew that this was the Dean of Slytherin, the ultimate innocent Severus Snape. "I don't think I did something wrong. I believe you are the one who knows the meaning of what a mudblood represents," Augustus replied with a smile. Hearing this, Snape's expression changed slightly. He walked to the front of the student team without saying a word, and then said loudly, "Keep up, all of them. I don't want some students to get lost on the first day and suffer misfortune in the end. You have to use your monster-like heads to remember the following journey." After finishing speaking, he strode away, and the students hurried to catch up, for fear that he would fall behind. After passing through countless turns and difficult stairs, a group of people waited to the door of the Slytherin common room. Snape said coldly, "Glory." The door opened slowly, and Snape led a group of young wizards into the Slytherin common room expressionlessly. The Slytherin common room is under the Black Lake, a bit like an aquarium. Through a huge floor-to-ceiling window, you can see the bottom of the Black Lake, and you can see a huge squid from time to time. The entire public room was remodeled from Hogwarts dungeon. The walls and ceiling were made of stones, giving it a gloomy atmosphere. There are some beautifully carved sofas in the common room, and there are many gorgeous flags. The main body of the flag is green with the Slytherin emblem embroidered on it, and there is silver piping on the edge. The entire lounge exudes a calm elegance. Snape saw all the freshmen arrived, and said without emotion, "From now on, the tradition of Slytherin is to elect the Shadow Prefect. Like the Prefect, the Shadow Prefect is the assistant of the professors and the chief among the students. Slytherin is not like other colleges. Only the 5th grade has prefects, but every grade has them. The prefects accept challenges from others once a year, and the loser leaves, and vice versa. Of course, one of us came this year, a well-known celebrity, a magic master who can release super powerful magic. It seems that there are no surprises in the result of this selection." After saying the last sentence, Snape looked at Augustus coldly. Feeling Professor Snape's gaze, Augustus smiled and said, "How is it possible, Professor? I'm only a student. You are the recognized master of potions and black magic." Seeing Snape's expression of eating a fly, Augustus continued, "Of course I'm also one of you. Challenge my chance." As he said that, Augustus took out his Elder Wand and waved it in the open space of the common room, and a wall of fire immediately appeared. This is just a simple defensive spell. As long as your spell level is slightly higher than that of the 1st grade, the spell can pass through this wall of fire. I will count you as the winner. Of course, for the sake of fairness, Professor Snape, you can try it." Augustus finished speaking, and then did what you asked for, Snape. When Snape saw the wall of fire, he felt a huge wave in his heart. At first, I was taken aback when I saw Augustus release the flame spell directly in the common room. I just wanted to stop it, but then I saw that the flame was only burning, but there was no sign of spreading. Looking at the handsome young man with a hippie smile in front of him, Snape fell into deep self-doubt. This kind of magic control. This Nimmer is 11 years old, and everyone in the Dumbledore family is a monster. Snape quickly recovered his composure, took out his wand and cast a spell at the wall of fire, and the spell passed through the wall of fire smoothly. Snape nodded, indicating that the freshman could start. Seeing Professor Snape's movements, the freshmen who had been eager to try took out their wands one after another, and began to bombard the wall of fire indiscriminately. But their magic power is too weak. Hit the wall of fire. There is no reaction at all. Only the spells of Draco and the others hit it, and there was a slight ripple in the wall of fire. It seems that there is still no accident. You really didn't disappoint me. Looking at the dejected freshman in front of him, Snape sprayed the venom in a strange way. Now, Augustus Freshman is your chief. Now all go back to sleep. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 in full. Hearing Professor Snape's roar, the little wizards didn't dare to stay and walked towards their dormitories one after another. Augustus grabbed Draco, who wanted to go back to the dormitory, and pulled him to Professor Snape. Professor, you know, I don't know much about Slytherin, so I want Draco to be my assistant, Augustus said. Snape looked at Augustus and Draco, thought for a while and nodded silently. Since you have become the head of the academy, you must safeguard the honor of Slytherin, and don't let me find out that there is any problem with your work, Snape said, his eyes fixed on the two teenagers in front of him. Augustus smiled and said, no problem, I will lead Slytherin to glory. Hearing this, Snape nodded, turned and left. Seeing Professor Snape leave, Draco heaved a sigh of relief. His dean's aura was too scary, and only the one next to him could communicate with the dean normally. Augustus patted Draco on the shoulder, beckoning him to follow, and the two walked towards the dormitory. Draco looked at Augustus back and said slowly, thank you. Augustus was actually a little surprised when he heard this. He just didn't want to work and wanted to find a toolman. It seemed that this kid thought he wanted to be promoted. This Nama has free cows and horses and can also get thanks from the cows and horses. This is okay in these small days. Is this exploiting the surplus value? I love it. Augustus thought happily, but said with a serious face on the surface. You're welcome. I just saw that your magic level is not bad. I will give you a chance. Follow me and work hard, and you will get everything you want. Draco nodded vigorously, his eyes full of fighting spirit. Augustus entered his dormitory. Besides Draco, his two followers, Vincent Crabbe and Gregory Goyle, shared his dormitory. Seeing Augustus and Draco coming in, the two stood up from the bed immediately. Augustus didn't bother to care about these two wastes, and said directly to Draco, you will be fully responsible for the tasks of the prefect tomorrow. You only need to report to me once a month. Except for the problems in the ceremony, you will be fully responsible for other problems. If you are dissatisfied, tell me and I will help you stand. Well, I have something else to do. You go to rest. So Augustus took out his magic suitcase, opened it and walked up the stairs to the bottom of the box. When he got inside the box, Augustus went directly to the inner room and looked at himself in the mirror in front of him. Augustus's smile disappeared, and the golden pupil of himself in the mirror was extremely bright in the dark. In fact, Augustus felt strange when he was on the train. When Pansy called Hermie in a mudblood, a strange feeling came to him. Logically speaking, I should just want to teach the two of them a lesson, but suddenly a killing intent surged into my heart. Although it was weak, Augustus still felt the near substantial killing intent. Although the killing intent was quickly suppressed by Augustus' rationality, Augustus still wanted to teach the opponents a lesson and release the magic spell of Vulcan, clearing the way. Seeing that the other party was scared out of his wits, the anger in my heart slowly calmed down. Looking at himself in the mirror, Augustus couldn't calm down for a long time. After a while, Augustus left the chamber and went to the armory. Looking at the guns all over the wall, Augustus took down two Colt Python revolvers and prepared to perform magical transformation. At this moment, the voice of the system came from my mind. It was discovered that the host has completed enrollment and has begun to enter a new stage. I hereby release the enrollment reward and open the daily magic point collection function. The host can change the plot, gain the reputation of the magic world, and earn the world's wealth to collect magic points, and the more magic points collected, the faster the system can be completed, and the higher the possibility of obtaining tasks. Augustus breathed a sigh of relief when he heard the system's voice. He had planned to shoot Quirrell with a single shot, and then use the forbidden technique in elemental magic, imprisoning part of Voldemort's soul, obtained from Voldemort's mouth, about the solution to the Horcrux curse. After all, Slytherin's pendant box is in Black's old house, and now Sirius is still in Azkaban and the Dementor. I want to get Slytherin's locket and start the next stage of the task, but it will take a lot of trouble. Now that there is a way to collect magic points, one's own strength can rise steadily, and when the plot develops to that stage, it will be slowly figured out. Little devil, open the entrance reward. Augustus said. Ding, the entrance reward has been opened, and you can get the compendium of magic potions from other worlds and an activation crystal, which can activate other functions of the host's bloodline. Seeing the two things in front of him, Augustus was so excited that he quickly opened the tome and read it. Although I was prepared in my heart, I was still shocked. Not to mention the resurrection potion, it can shock the entire magic world. Augustus closed the encyclopedia of magic potions from other worlds and turned to look at the crystal. The whole body of the crystal is red, and there is no strange appearance, but it is constantly releasing magical energy to the outside world. How to use this? Is there any danger, little devil? Augustus said silently to the system. It's fine to crush it directly. There is no danger. It will only activate the subsidiary functions of the host's blood, said the system. After listening to the system's answer, Augustus didn't think too much about it and directly held the crystal in his hand. With a little force, the crystal shattered and turned into a little red light and entered Augustus' body. After the absorption of the crystal was completed, Augustus felt the magic power in his body start to go berserk, and the berserk magic power hit every nerve of Augustus. Augustus felt as if 10,000 ants were gnawing on him in his veins at the same time. Augustus fell to his knees, struggling in pain. Suddenly Augustus returned to that illusion. In the scorching flames, the city was crying. Scorched human figures were running in the fire. The whole city was burning. Crowds of people knelt on the ground, facing themselves kowtowing. He kept begging himself for forgiveness. After an unknown period of time, Augustus got up from the ground, and the puddle of sweat on the ground showed how painful he was at that time. Ziomo, you came out, didn't you say that there would be no danger? Aren't you going to explain this garbage system? Augustus asked viciously. The system only guarantees that there will be no danger, but it does not guarantee that there will be no pain. Please don't label the host indiscriminately, the system replied coldly. Hearing this, Augustus had nothing to say, so he could only silently say, little devil, open your personal information. Chapter 23 Final Preparations. The host's personal information has been opened. Please check it yourself. Name, Augustus Dumbledore. Bloodline, Phoenix. There are 2 more unknown mana. 1000. Chief Aura. Fantastic Beasts. Phoenix. Mutation. Magic. Avada Kedavra level 2. Blazing level 5. Vulcan Clearing the Way level 2. Only the strongest 3 magics are displayed. Special abilities. Mastery of Fire Element. Mastery of Alchemy. Partial activation of unknown bloodlines. Makes you one of the best alchemy masters in the world. Soul Strength. 40. 1 in a million. Charm Talent. 10. Merlin is alive. Transfiguration Talent. 4. Mediocre Aptitude. Potion Talent. 8. Extremely Talented. Partial activation of the bloodline brings enhancement of potion ability. Dark Arts Talent. 9. Azkaban. Prophecy Talent. 0. Unknown Lineage. Cannot be activated. Strange Animal Affinity. 0. Unknown Lineage. Cannot be activated. Evaluation. In this world, you are already considered a strong person. Explore your own life experience and lead to the strongest road. Looking at his personal information, his strength is still steadily improving. As long as he makes good use of the existing conditions, there shouldn't be any problems. Augustus thought silently. Ding, release the stage mission, get the Philosopher's Stone, and become famous in the magic world, at least in the British magic world. The mission reward is Advanced Black Magic Decryption. After reading it, you can get it. The methods of using and cracking all black magic in this world. I really want to sleep and someone handed me a pillow. You finally have a useful system. Looking at the task in front of him, Augustus said excitedly. Please host more long-term tasks to collect magic points, so as to become stronger faster and complete the system as soon as possible, said the system. It seems that this wave is about to make a big move. The reality does not allow me to keep a low profile. I need to plan carefully, Augustus thought silently. Augustus took a shower in the inner room, cleaned off the dirt left by the activation of the blood vessels just now, and looked at himself in the mirror. The golden pupils are still shining, with a strange and majestic light, and the mandala pattern in the depths is elegant and evil. Although the mysterious bloodline has not yet affected his mind, but with the frequent illusions and the strange killing intent, it seems that he has to speed up his progress, otherwise he may not be himself. Augustus thought silently. After coming out of the inner room, Augustus came to the weapons room. Looking at the Colt Python revolver on the table, Augustus had an immature idea. Incendio is blazing. Augustus took out his elderberry wand, and a flame rose in the open space of the weapon room. Augustus picked up the Colt Python revolver on the table, and threw the revolver into the flame's middle. What Augustus has to do now is to use alchemy, to engrave the spell on the revolver, making it the world's first magic weapon. Protego armor protection. Augustus waved his wand, adding the armor curse to the flames, and the magic power entered the gun body through the flames, and the gun body began to show a different metallic luster. Successful, the magic energy began to enter the gun body. Augustus said excitedly, "Now you can continue to add other spells. Wingardium Leviosa, Wingardium Leviosa, added levitation enchantment to reduce weight. Reparo back to original. Added the restoration spell to maintain the integrity of the gun body." Looking at the revolver with different luster in front of him, Augustus frowned, but it still didn't work. The energy of the spell just stayed on the surface of the revolver. In order to really fuse the spell with the revolver body, a more advanced method must be used. Augustus looked at the revolver in the flames in front of him, and pondered for a long time. To complete his plan, this weapon is still very necessary. After all, although his own strength is already very strong, it is still weak compared to Voldemort. There is a certain gap. After all, being famous in the wizarding world, is there anything more famous than killing a Dark Lord directly? I just want to do it in one step. Just as he said, Augustus removed his flame spell, and looked at the revolver suspended in the air in front of him. Augustus took out his own red crystal wand, pointed it at the revolver. The golden pupils began to flicker violently, and an ancient and solemn spell was uttered from Augustus' mouth. In the name of the one and only supreme being, the controller of the flame, erase all the life of the objects in front of you. A wordless flame spewed out from the wand, igniting the revolver in front of him, and the metal began to burn. There was no violent reaction, no loud sound, only a ball of flame burning silently in the air, without sound. After a while, the flame went out, silently, and the revolver was still floating, but Augustus knew he had succeeded. He got a revolver that was completely dead in terms of matter and reality, and what was suspended there was a group of completely dead metal, which was an excellent alchemy material. Now what Augustus has to do is to revive this revolver, let it be reborn, add the power of those spells to his new life, and let these spells be attached to this revolver forever. Augustus continued to hold the red crystal wand, aimed at the completely dead revolver in front of him, and began to say, "The bottom is the same as the top, and the top is the same as the bottom. In this way, the miracle of Tei will be fulfilled. In the name of the only supreme, the life of the objects in front of you will be brought back from the realm of the dead with flames." A violent flame erupted from the wand. The revolver in front of him began to melt. The metal became liquid again. The handle was burned to ashes by the flames, and everything seemed to be destroyed. But destruction is the beginning of new life. Liquid metal begins to recover, ashes begin to gather, and a brand new revolver is born from the flames. The flames were extinguished, and a brand new pistol was suspended in the air, with many exquisite patterns appearing on it. This is the spell solidified by alchemy on the revolver. Augustus picked up the revolver from the air. Now the revolver is as light as a feather. Put it on the table, and attacked it with a spell. Small spells can't hurt it, and the damage caused by powerful spells too. Heal quickly. This gun is no longer an ordinary weapon, but a powerful spell launcher. Augustus followed suit, and continued to transform another Colt Python revolver. He began to modify the bullets again. Augustus first added a split spell to the front of the bullet, which is used to tear apart the opponent's armor defense spell. There are on the back of the bullet, there are added, Killing Curse, Cruciatus Curse, and Imperious Curse, as well as junior spells like Blazing Fire and so on. Seeing the 200 rounds of pistol ammunition in front of him, Augustus was satisfied. He hit hatch and walked down the stairs to the dormitory. Chapter 24. Forming a team. When they came to the dormitory, Draco and his 2 followers were snoring loudly. Augustus silently came to his bed and fell asleep directly. The next day, Augustus got up early in the morning and came to the common room, waiting for the first-year freshmen. After a while, the freshmen got up one after another and came to the common room. Augustus looked at the group of people in front of him and said silently, "You guys are doing well. The first day wasn't too late. Every day from now on, everyone must gather in the common room before 7 a.m. and those who haven't arrived should think about the consequences themselves. Mr. Draco Malfoy will be in charge of the specific affairs." Draco straightened up after hearing this, with a look of pride on his face. Augustus looked at Malfoy and the freshman in front of him and continued, "You don't have to envy Mr. Malfoy. As long as you can win on a 4 Slytherin, I will give you what you want. Powerful magic, rich wealth, and eternal honor. Those who want to gain strength should work hard honestly. Everyone must obey orders and prohibit orders. We are a whole, and confrontation and division are not allowed." After speaking, Augustus waved his hand, and the entire common room was enveloped in flames, like a terrifying purgatory. Looking at the doomsday-like scenery in front of them, the little snakes were so scared that their faces turned pale, and several timid girls were about to cry. Seeing that he had achieved his goal, Augustus removed the flame and continued, "This is real power. As long as you obey my orders, I will not be stingy with what I bestow on you." After speaking, Augustus took out a stack of papers, handed them to Draco, and said, "This is some of my research materials on elementary spells, which will allow you to quickly master elementary spells." After class, Draco asked a few people to copy a few copies and distribute them to the freshmen. "You are so useless now." Draco looked at the paper in front of him. His face was flushed, and his hands were shaking slightly. He had been in a pure-blood family since he was a child, and of course he understood the true meaning of Augustus handing these things over to him. Now Draco is finally not now that he is a named assistant to the prefect, he has the right to distribute the rewards, and these papers are his precious sword. Augustus looked at Draco's expression, nodded very satisfied, and continued, "Now, I'll give you another 10 minutes to sort out your appearance, and then gather in the common room." As soon as Augustus finished speaking, the little snakes hurried to their dormitories. 10 minutes later, Augustus led the little snakes, who lined up in 2 neat lines, towards the auditorium. Because it was too early in the auditorium, there were only a few students, and it seemed very deserted. Augustus led the little snakes to the auditorium, and then said, "You have 40 minutes to eat. Now you can move freely." Hearing this, the little snakes were overjoyed and went to dinner with their friends, but the pressure with Augustus was too great, and only a few girls stayed not far away, peeping at him with blushing faces. Augustus looked indifferent, ate gracefully, and said to Draco next to him, "You have to supervise their spell learning process, and hand over a list of new pure-blood family members to me at night." Hearing this, Draco rolled his eyes and nodded, but he still planned to contact his father as soon as possible. After about 20 minutes, students came to the auditorium one after another. Hermione came to the auditorium alone, sat on the long table, opened a book, and ate breakfast silently by herself. Seeing Hermione's movements, Augustus sighed, walked behind Hermione silently, and said softly, "It's really hard work. It seems that our beautiful Miss Beaver has forgotten me as a friend. She doesn't even say hello when she meets her. It's really sad." Hearing what Augustus said, Hermione remained unmoved and continued to read the book. Seeing Hermione's small movements, Augustus smiled and had no choice but to pretend to be pitiful. "It seems that our Miss Beaver still won't forgive her poor friend. It seems that I lost a friend on the first day of school. My heart really hurts." After speaking, Augustus pretended to leave, but when he got up, his sleeve was pulled. Augustus turned his head with a smirk and looked at Hermione jokingly. Seeing Augustus's expression, Hermione knew that she had been tricked, but she still pretended to be calm and said, "In view of your clear attitude of pleading guilty, my lord forgives you a lot, and I hope you can take care of yourself. Now, let me explain why you went to Slytherin. Seeing Hermione's arrogant expression, Augustus sat down and began to seriously explain his criminal experience. From how I tried my best to go to Gryffindor, but was still rejected by the Sorting Hat ruthlessly, it can be said to be conclusive and well-founded. After listening to Augustus' answer, Hermione nodded, expressing that she was basically satisfied with Augustus' answer. Augustus looked at Hermione and said, "Don't just talk about me, how about your new campus life? Have you made any new friends?" After listening to Augustus' words, Hermione said dejectedly, "It's not good at all. Last night I wanted to share my spellcasting skills with my roommates, but they were not interested at all. Instead, they kept asking me about you. You said there is something wrong with them." After listening to Hermione's words, Augustus said silently in his heart with a black thread, "It's normal for them, okay? Don't talk about handsome guys at the beginning of school, but talk about studies. Isn't that just a serious illness?" Hermione continued on regardless. "I couldn't help being asked by them, so I had to perfunctory them a few words, but they became more and more excessive. They had no interest in my first year study plan and kept asking for information about you. It was really too much." Seeing the girl in front of him dancing and talking about his roommate, Augustus couldn't help laughing. Seeing Augustus smiling happily there, Hermione said angrily like a lion cub with furred fur, "You still laugh, it's all because of you." Seeing Hermione's furious look, Augustus stood up, took out a beautiful necklace from the system view, silently walked behind Hermione, put it on her gently, and whispered in her ear, "Not everyone is like you, yearning for knowledge and wisdom. Believe that you are different. You don't have to change yourself for others. You are the best. Believe in yourself, my beautiful Miss Beaver." Hermione felt the heat in the gentle voice next to her ear, and felt that her mind was blank, and she could only blushed, and bowed her head in silence. Chapter 25 The Curse Lesson. Seeing that the girl in front of him had turned into a steam girl, Augustus smiled wickedly, ready to continue teasing the girl in front of him. "Okay, my beautiful Miss Beaver, it's an honor to wear this necklace on you," Augustus said with a smile covering his chest. Hearing the ridicule in Augustus's words, Hermione straightened up sharply and began to punch and hammer Augustus with a bunch of meows. After the chilling fist wind stopped, Augustus said while rubbing his chest pretending to be in pain, "Is the mood much better? It's good to vent it. I'm sorry that I gave you something and I was beaten. It's really pitiful." Hearing that Hermione didn't speak, but judging from her expression, she should be very happy. Augustus also knew the other party at this time, and he had already walked out of what happened last night. So he directly took Hermione's hand and said seriously, "Okay, you beat me, and your anger is gone. Now you must remember what I told you, and don't take off this necklace if it is not necessary. This is a magic item I refined, which can protect you. It's safe, remember." After finishing speaking, Augustus got up and gave Hermione a gentleman's salute, picked up a strand of her hair and kissed it and said, "Well, I wish you a happy start to school, my beautiful Miss Beaver." After Augustus finished speaking, he turned and left. Hermione blushed instantly when she saw Augustus's movements. Looking at the exquisite rose gold necklace inlaid with rubies on her neck, Hermione was very happy. She had won It's Good to Know Your Friends. Back at the long table in Slytherin, Draco looked at Augustus. He wanted to say a lot, but didn't know where to start. When Augustus put the necklace on the little Gryffindor girl, he clearly felt a strong killing intent coming from the Slytherin girl. It was really scary. "What's the schedule for today, Draco?" Augustus didn't pay attention to Draco's expression and asked directly. Draco, who was still thinking about how to speak, was shocked by Augustus' question, and he answered quickly, after being stunned for a while. "Spelling class with Hufflepuff in the morning, potions class with those stupid Gryffindor lions in the afternoon. That's all, Mr. Dumbledore. Just call me Augustus. We are roommates after all, and I don't want to hear such remarks as stupid lions anymore. If you want to prove your excellence, you don't need to belittle others. Besides, you are all students in the same school," Augustus said seriously. Hearing this, Draco had no choice but to say in awe, "I understand, Mr. Augustus, but I can't guarantee what other Slytherins will do. Please understand." Of course Augustus knew that freezing 3 feet did not happen in a day, and this matter had to be figured out gradually, so he nodded and acquiesced to Draco's words. After breakfast, Augustus led the Slytherin students to the charms classroom in 2 neat rows. The charms classroom is located on a tower of the castle. The classroom is in a typical medieval style, with a row of stepped seats on each side, and a pile of books on the open space. Professor Flitwick stands on the pile of books, watching the new students said excitedly, "Looking at you makes me feel like I'm still young, and you have so much hope." Because of his height, Professor Flitwick, standing on a pile of books, looked more amiable, not as serious as Professor McGonagall, and spoke more humorously, often making the students laugh. "Okay, students, take out your wands. Today we are going to learn the 5 basic spellcasting movements. The correct movements will effectively enhance the effect of the spell. Finally, we will learn a small spell, which will glow. Of course some of you can already be called masters, but other students should study hard." After Professor Flitwick finished speaking, he glanced at Augustus and then started the demonstration. 5 very simple actions can be called the foundation of the foundation. After the demonstration, Professor Flitwick taught the magic spell of fluorescent flashing. Because this spell can only be released with correct movements and correct pronunciation, which can be used to practice spellcasting movements. After watching Professor Flitwick's demonstration, the students of Slytherin and Hufflepuff started to practice, because most of them were using wands for the first time, except for a few pureblood families on the Slytherin side. Most people are helpless. At this time, you can see the gap between Muggle wizards and pureblood wizards. Muggle wizards have never been exposed to magic, and have to learn everything from scratch. Wizards, the starting point is different. Looking at the Hufflepuff students across the street, all of them were anxious, but unable to use magic. Augustus decided to do something. After all, the number of Hufflepuff students is the largest in the entire academy, and they will be the majority of the magic world in the future, so it is still necessary to win them over. So Augustus stood up and came to Professor Flitwick's side. Seeing Augustus leaving his position and walking towards him, Professor Flitwick asked kindly, "What can you do, Mr. Dumbledore?" "Just call me Augustus. In class you are the teacher, and I'm just a student," Augustus said modestly. Looking at the handsome boy in front of him, Professor Flitwick was very satisfied. After all, who doesn't like a humble and talented student? Looking at the smiling Professor Flitwick, Augustus continued, "I saw Hufflepuff students who are a bit slow in learning, and I want to share my learning experience." Professor Flitwick never expected that Augustus would have such an idea. After all, Slytherin looked down on Hufflepuff, but everyone in Hogwarts knew that he was worthy of being a member of the Dumbledore family. "Do what you want to do, you are noble, child," Professor Flitwick said happily. After getting the professor's affirmation, Augustus didn't hesitate and directly released a fluorescent spell, which attracted everyone's attention. Then Augustus told them the magic casting skills learned from the elementary curse cracked edition, and everyone who listened seemed to be suddenly enlightened. Augustus continued, "Many of you are unable to release the spell. It's not because your actions are not standard or your pronunciation is wrong. It's because you don't believe that you will succeed in casting the spell. Magic is the power of idealism. If you don't believe in it, it won't work on you. Bloom on your body." After finishing speaking, Augustus saluted, and the audience applauded thunderously. Professor Flitwick said even more excitedly, "Slytherin 20 points for Mr. Augustus' excellent teaching and brand new theory." After Augustus's teaching, almost all the students successfully cast spells before get out of class ended. Professor Flitwick looked very happy and said to Augustus excitedly, "Can you stay a while? I have a lot to say to you." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.